Hello and welcome to this 27th edition of the Echo Chamberlain live stream. It's like this live stream is going to be entering its quarter-life crisis at this stage. Let's get straight into it and bring on the guests. My first guest drives through the stauncher regions of southern Illinois, Wayne or Hamilton County, and eases into the car park outside a roadside bar, gravel popping under his tires. Getting out and passing huge pickup trucks, he heads towards the door, where the sound of "Try That in a Small Town" can be heard playing on the stereo, over which are the arrhythmical cracks of snooker balls. He enters, and 20 hard-bitten blue-collar men look in unison at the new arrival. The question is, which Pedro Pascal outfit would he be wearing if forced to from this selection? Here with the answer is Mr. Greg Owen.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I, for a moment there, was going to charge you a whole bunch more in order to be on the show, but then people were very upset, and so I rescinded the decision the next day. And that was also that you would cover the subjects that I want. It was a 4D chess move, so
Yep.
If I had to pick one, baby, those ankle waders look. That's when you want it, like when you're duck hunting, but it's not super deep, so you only need like knee waders. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you're going to go with that one? I think so. I found a nice little tidbit. Southern Illinois is called Little Egypt. Are you familiar with that?
There is a town named Cairo, and there is a lake in southern Illinois, Lake Egypt. It's actually quite nice. I know people that live there. A lot of good parks, oddly enough. I hike there. My physique would not suggest that is a thing that I do, but I do hike sometimes.
I'm sure it's pronounced Cairo.
Sure. It's not Illinois. I can tell you that.
All right. Okay. Now, the École Normale Supérieure is France's most prestigious Grande École, and by some measures, the top intellectual institution in the world. Now, this is the philosophy subject for this week's 2025 entrance exam. Just 2 words in quotation marks. Tu dois. You must. The candidates had 6 hours to write their essay around those 2 words. My next guest, with outrageous audacity, simply sauntered into the exam room, slightly hungover, ears ringing from a night in the clubs, took a drag from a cigarette, drew out a biro, and with cavalier élan, dashed off just 1 sentence, enigmatic, piercing and profound enough to guarantee him a scholarship and the envious admiration of the other toiling aspirants. Here to tell us what that clinching, perfect sentence is the despot of Antrim.
The sentence was, "This is not an exam."
That's it.
That's it. And that got me in. That got me in.
Brilliant. Jesus, man, your new video on advertising in the UK, what a tour de force. I can only watch it in increments because honestly, it makes me a little depressed. I can only do it like 15 minutes at a time. You have this thing where you've done it 3 or 4 times where it's something residing latently or half consciously in my mind and irritating me, and it's there as like a tension. And you're the guy who actually extrapolates that and hardens it into a video to sort of, to flesh that out. So everyone should go see Despot's new video.
Thanks very much. There's a lot of people saying that in the comments, like, finally someone said this. Or I've had so many comments from guys in the UK saying, finally, I thought it was just me. I thought I was going mad. I'm glad that other people seeing this. And
blockbuster numbers too. It's like over 250,000 views just after 1 day. Crazy stuff.
I mean, I did think it would do well. It did better than I expected, but I knew that it was very zeitgeist in terms of what's going on in the UK and everything, and how it's very cathartic, I think, as well, because people are so pissed off at how misrepresented the UK is in media and how it's basically just, I mean, even my own fucking, I was talking about the video to my mother, and before it was released, I said, I'm working on a video about how UK ads are propaganda. And she just straight off said, yeah, they are propaganda. Like, even old women think this now. It's become so blatant.
Yeah. I like the I think it was the British Airways one, just so crowded with literally everything. It was
Jesus.
astonishing.
It's just like, let's take a smorgasbord of intersectionality and just cram everything in as short a space as possible.
Well, I think the exciting thing for you is that your video is not going to taper off. It's just going to sit there accruing views and for a long time, which I think is great. That's what you want. You want to be in the zeitgeist. Well, next guest, frequently seen on Mr. Brown, a whole stream with my next guest is a magic bonus, and not just because of her Magic Brown bonus hole. She began her YouTube career as Confound Classical, then later took the moniker of Perplex Jazz, before evolving her persona further to become Perturb Rock and Roll. Today, she is known as Vex Electronica.
How long does it take you to write all of those intros out of curiosity? Because they're just, oh my God, they just bring the biggest smile to my face.
It's the last thing I do. I've got like 5 minutes left to go, 10 minutes left to go.
Oh my goodness, they're brilliant. Thank you for having me on. It's a pleasure to be here. And my Brown Magic Bonus Hole is also happy to be here. So thank you.
Look at us. It's the original gang. This is stream number one's lineup, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Oh, and true. I did want to say, given that this is our 27th stream, I think it would be appropriate if this were the last stream and that it dies of a heroin overdose backstage after a rock and roll concert with like a passed out, possibly underage groupie next to it. So that's how I'd like this 27th stream to end.
Yeah. All right. Well, there's only one thing which could be better than this, possibly. My next guest is so awesome that he gets his own fucking intro. Robot Head, how are you?
Good morning. I do like that I was introduced by saying you want the show to end on a drug overdose and it's crash and burn. So obviously have Robot Head on because he's sure to say something that'll get the stream banned.
Well, I snuck in an extra please explain into one of those tiles because I quite like that. But how are you, sir? I mean, you've enjoyed. Last I heard from you, you had a new pool. Have you been enjoying the new pool?
Yes, we've had the greatest summer I can ever remember. It just keeps going. It's going to be 27 again this Thursday, I think, tomorrow. What's today? No, Thursday. It's going to be 27. So it's been very nice over here.
But it's very strange because this is normally the 3 months of the year where some 13-year-old boy lights up some twigs in the wilderness, or some truckie flings a cigarette outside of his truck and then 2/3 of the country burns down. How come that hasn't happened this year?
Well, I've been busy in the pool. Yeah, I know we haven't decided to destroy half the country this year. I don't know what's going on. It's sort of, we all look forward to it. It's like a second Christmas, but yeah, it's hasn't happened this year. So it's been very boring over here.
You guys are so weird because you've got an election coming up, and I think you're one of the only countries in the world where everyone has to vote by law, which is so weird.
Well, yeah, you actually have to get your name signed off. Once your name's signed off, you can do whatever you want. So there's no proof of actually that you have to vote, but you're there anyway. So why not put a vote down for Paul Hogan, which half the nation does every year?
It's weird because New Zealand and Australia, we both have 3-year-long terms for our government. And in Australia, all I remember, there was like John Howard for 87 years. And then there was just nothing but like little tiny bits and pieces of governments for the last 30 years.
Yeah, but no one knows who's in charge, and everyone just hates everyone, which is, we don't have sides here. The side is the public and the politicians, and that's it.
Yeah.
So all the ones everyone remembers are from like the 80s, 70s, 80s, maybe a little bit of the 90s.
There was the last time New Zealand had a one-term government was 1975. So and basically we care so little about politics that basically you get your first term for free in this country, which is great. It's very stress-free.
Of course, our greatest prime minister was Bob Hawke, who had the beer sculling world record.
Oh yeah, love that guy.
Before he became prime minister. So, you know, that's something we can be proud of.
You guys won the America's Cup, and then he famously went on TV and said that anyone who fires their employees for not coming into work tomorrow is a bum. And then he burst out laughing
Yeah.
with one of those like cigarettes.
He was already drunk at 8 o'clock in the morning because we'd won a boat race. It was great.
Well, we had one prime minister who was drunk when he called in an election. It was fantastic. You should see the footage. Someone said, "Do you with only 1 month? Do you think you won't have much time to organize a campaign?" And he sort of slurringly goes, "Well, my opponent won't have much time to organize either." It's great. You see a New Zealand prime minister tottering on his feet, drunk while calling an election. Anyway, let's get into stuff because stuff is happening around the world. And I think, Jesus Christ, I got so much stuff on my screen. This is ridiculous. I don't even know where the first fucking thing is. Here we go. Okay. All right. Well, I watched the first episode of this, and I thought it was a stinker. I thought it was a turkey. I thought it was no good.
Yeah.
I thought
You're correct.
they got Joel is too mimsy and effete and wishy-washy, and Maudlin and Ellie is insufferable and horrible. And yeah, I was kind of rooting for the cordyceps after a bit because there's nothing happening, and there's a YA teen romance bullshit that I don't care about. And then there's a dance thing where Joel suddenly teleports and materializes out of nowhere to fling himself in a rugby tackle against some bigot. And then after that, I was kind of tuned out. But I'm sure some of you guys liked it.
The
Are
first
we on
episode?
episode?
No.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, no, are we
Obviously,
on
we're not going to have
Oh.
any spoilers apart from the fact that Joel dies. But no
I will
spoilers.
allow the woman to speak.
We've got 2 episodes out now, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, I haven't been keeping up at all because season 1 was such a slog. So I did hear that they gave Pedro the golf club pretty early, though, which is a bit surprising. I thought they were going to hold out till season 3 for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to do a Walking Dead and have him going to the place but not see it, and you wouldn't. I thought they would drag it out.
Can I ask the ratio of people that have played the game? I have not played the game. So is everyone here played the game, or is it a mixed bag?
I have not.
Oh. Echo, can you do
Mixed
a poll?
bag.
Is that a thing you can do?
I have so much shit in front of me that if I did a poll, my laptop would fizz out.
I watched the game movie compilation on YouTube. It's about 4 hours
Yeah.
long. It's just a compilation of all the game clips, and it is the most fucking boring, awful game story I have ever seen. I heard that it was bad, but I was actually shocked at how bad it is. It's almost unbelievably terrible. It's just
I always got the
overwhelmingly
impression
boring.
this was a very popular game, that people love the story.
Yeah.
The first one
game
was very
was
popular.
Very popular.
Yeah, the second one divided the fan base. It's kind of like the last Jedi of video games. The second one, but it's
right.
also it's also like the last Jedi of video games in that everyone who liked it at the time pretty much has come around to realize that they were wrong and that no, it really is a pile of fucking awful shite, and there's very little love for it left anymore. So
There's a few staunch holdouts. I did a video about a month ago because I finally played it, and playing it was even worse because there's a lot of filler in it. It's not a good game. Neil Druckmann, the writer and director of that, thinks that he is a visionary. He really believes that he has this amazing, incredible idea to subvert the male hero from the first story and then make you feel sympathy for the bad guys. I don't know if you guys have ever seen anybody try to do this. It's really brand new, never been done before, so it was really interesting. And he pulled it off just so swimmingly. It was incredible. But I still have people in the comments of that video, not a ton, but some, that are still trolling the internet looking for videos that don't like this game and then clicking on them and saying, "You fuckers just don't understand art. You don't realize what amazing writing
That's
masterpiece the game is. You just don't get it." Okay. All right, whatever.
Yeah, that's the number one argument these days. If you don't like something, you just don't understand it.
Yeah.
It was supposed to make you feel bad. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well,
If you don't like it, you don't understand it, then don't watch it. It wasn't made for you. And then a month later, if you didn't turn up, they come squealing and bleating back saying, "Why didn't you come out and support this project?"
The excuse they used when they ran out of things to defend Snow White with, because Snow White had its chills, and when they ran out of everything, when it turned out actually we were right all along, it was one of the worst things ever made. When they ran out of all the other excuses, they literally just turned to, bro, it's a kids movie. You're literally criticizing a movie for children. Like that was the absolute last sort of little trench at the very back of the defensive network once we had overrun everything else. It was just this pathetic little attempt at a holdout.
Another old classic. It's made for kids.
Yeah.
Because kids deserve absolute garbage.
Yeah, that's right. Kids aren't really people anyway. They don't have any critical capacity. They don't have capacity for thought.
Yeah.
They're just little morons, throw them garbage on screen, they'll eat it up.
I tend to not even read comments in my comment sections that if they begin either with the word bro or dude, then I just don't bother to read on because I know what it's going to be.
I was thinking about what are the most, because I feel like I've got my finger on the pulse of at least early middle age culture from reading so many comments on YouTube. And I'm thinking, okay, what are the most overused terms? And in my opinion, the most overused terms are bro, cringe, and what else?
Dude. Also, if it's a one-line comment, which is just like a parachute in, say, bro something, and then 3 laughing emojis. That's like
and
a winner.
Incel is obviously, that's another big one. It doesn't really mean anything other than I'm left wing and I dislike this. That's basically what incel
Bro,
means.
you dudes are sounding really cringe right now.
I had an okay boomer. I haven't seen an okay boomer for a year.
Oh Jesus, man, that's so. What's that, like 2020?
I think that's outplayed now. That's done. Yeah, that's
You're
left the cultural zeitgeist.
You're being super.
That's
Ohio
like saying,
right now, bro.
That's like saying SJW. Bro, that's kind of low key cringe, to be honest.
I mean, this episode began with a fight sequence involving a legs around the head maneuver I haven't seen since Priss and Blade Runner trying to kill Deckard. From a 5'3" actress taking down this behemoth.
It wasn't quite as sexy as
that's her thighs. Yeah, I agree.
It was more like a face hugger going for you.
That was. Do you know the worst part about it was that the show was taking itself so seriously. Like, has anybody seen G20?
No,
it's not yet.
Fucking
I'm looking
hilarious.
For it. That's going to be my special.
I haven't.
Oh, Greg, it's really fun.
Do a live stream with it.
It's really fun.
I saw an ad that had Homelander in it, and I was like, "Oh, this looks like super cool!" Like that's how they were advertising this show. Of like, go see Anthony Starr; he's super cool in this show. And then I looked it up, and I saw like it's Viola Davis, who's like no sleeves, fucking muscled out.
Yeah,
It's awesome.
It's brilliant.
She's gone off the deep end, that woman.
It's like a spoof of girl boss rubbish that doesn't know it's a spoof, which makes it even better.
Oh.
So it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Very, very entertaining. And Homelander's good. And like he just chews the scenery. He knows it's a pile of shite and he just has fun with it. But yeah, fun movie. Just it's a pretty good trash movie. It's like a good trash girl boss movie.
Robert, did you ever get Outrageous Fortune over Across the Ditch, that Kiwi show?
Sorry, you asking me? I was looking up this show. Did we get what?
Outrageous Fortune. You never had that show Across the Ditch?
It sounds familiar, but I didn't see it. I didn't watch it, but I think we did. I'm sure we share every show between our two
pretty much
huge nations.
So that's The Last of Us. Should I bother with episode 2? Because they were going for, I think, this aesthetic of, life is kind of dreary and stressful and low, with a low constant anxiety for everyone in this world of the show. And so they tried to literally convey that to the audience by having a show which is patchy with no plot momentum, of unresolved cross purposes. But that's just a headache. That's just a pain in the ass to watch. That's not aesthetically clever a thing to do. You can still get a sense of malaise and unresolved cross purposes, but you can still do it with pacing and economy and style and subtlety. Whereas, this was just a headache. So I didn't like anyone in the show.
It sounds like you're just a baby that doesn't understand that life isn't always happy and fun. And sometimes adults, we like to watch dark shows that are bleak. And I understand that you're just a child that doesn't understand how deep and emotional this story is. And I'm sorry that not everything can just be fucking rainbows, baby boy. But this is real. This is real.
Is he an incel too, Greg? Is he an incel as well?
Yeah, you fucking incel, bro. My brother is right. Sometimes a story is dark.
I will say, like, I have a better chance of carrying Greg up that hill outside of Cairo than Bella Ramsey does. Of carrying this show. Bella
Don't-
Ramsey's not going to be able to
full
carry the
punches.
rest of this. I think the ratings for this are going to fucking crater because
Yeah,
Ellie
Agreed.
is so insufferable. Bella Ramsey doesn't have the kind of screen presence and charisma that Pedro Pascal does. I mean, I know Pedro Pascal's fucking everywhere. He's probably in my kitchen cupboard right now, but
Mhm.
he has his screen presence, he has charisma, and I love the fact that he embraces his role as the worst dressed man in Hollywood. By the way,
Yeah.
He might be in your cupboard, but he's definitely in a cupboard. It's 100%. There's a cupboard he's having trouble getting out of.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Well,
yeah, I mean, does anyone think that the ratings will hold, or is
no,
it sort of?
no. it's
No,
gonna
they
be
will
Why?
take a sharp dip.
No, because here's
Just
the
their
real
faces
problem, though.
off-putting enough,
Aside
let
from
alone
the-
their acting ability.
Yeah.
aside from the the goofy messaging they want to do, and the the bartender guy has to apologize for his bigotry and all of the goofy little shit. The real issue is that for the rest of the season, what happened in the second episode, that is the only thing of interest, and the only reason it's interesting or was interesting in the game was because it was unexpected. The shock value is all that it had, and in the game, you didn't really get to know Abby until like the second half of the game, and they tried to hide this. They wouldn't allow people to talk about it in reviews. They embargoed this because the old switcheroo and the person that you hate so much is actually a real human being, and she loves dogs and she saves kids, and don't you feel bad? Don't you feel stupid that you felt all these negative things when we emotionally manipulate you to make you like her? That's all been played now. That's like, we've already met her. We understand her motivation. The mystery's not there. The big thing with Joel has already happened. So for the rest of the season, there is no more story. It's two people that hate each other getting revenge on each other. Spy versus Spy was at least funny. This is just, there will be nothing. There will be nothing for the rest of the season. It will be boring. And the only thing they will have are things like if you watch episode 2, there is a big battle scene, which actually is very impressive and it's really cool. And if they can keep up that spectacle every single episode, then people will be distracted enough to realize that there is no story whatsoever. But anytime that there isn't action and flashing lights and TikTok shit happening, people will realize, there is no story, there's no dialogue, there's nothing actually happening. And then, the ratings will fall off immediately.
There's also no
Hold on.
goal. Go ahead, Vex.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say there is something to still look forward to. We get to see a bunch of minors probably scissor each other later on this season, so there is that
nice
to look
Just
forward
pop
to
in
now.
the diary.
So
Yeah.
There you go.
Pencil me in for that. I mean, you could have had Ellie, like you could have positioned her that she's still psychologically a bit fragile, underdeveloped, that she's not quite equipped to survive on her own without this mentor, that it could cause a massive crash and lull, that she could be in extreme danger. Then you haven't done.
That-
But if you set up the episode where she's a total badass, she knows all her guns, she's utterly resilient and independent, she can take down anyone, then it creates no narrative tension whatsoever. So I think they were trying to be like Cormac McCarthy, where, in something like for No Country for Old Men or The Road, people do die randomly in these horrific events. But the difference there is that he writes in a super, Baroque literary style, which is gorgeous and brilliant, whereas this is just a flat video game adaptation. So the big question, the delicate, difficult question is, does this retroactively change your attitude towards season 1?
So season 1 messed up a lot because that actually is how the game played out. Like the first game is that Ellie was this very innocent young girl. She doesn't really know how the world works, knows even less about the world post-apocalypse. And Joel was very much a father figure showing her the way. But the first season made Ellie this unlikable, almost like a Mary Sue in a lot of regards. So now going into season 2, you aren't going to get that nice arc of her trying to make it on her own or gain some sort of independence and identity. It's just going to be kind of Bella Ramsey being Bella Ramsey.
Being a person. That's just what she is. She's nothing more than
And if you watch like the last couple of episodes of season 1 and then watch the first episode of this, she's acting identical. It's like but the show tells you 5 years have passed, but nothing has changed in this person.
I watched the first
5 years
season.
pass?
Yeah.
I watched the first season the week before this started to just catch up. I hadn't watched it at all. And the 5-year jump's madness because she's exactly the same. Like exactly the same. Oh, she's got some tats. They've given her tattoos, so that's the big change.
Oh my god.
Her behavior is still an immature teenager. Like
But now everyone can tell me I'm wrong. I haven't played the game. Her behavior in the first season was bizarre. She was born after the virus started. Like, it's been 20 years or something, hasn't it? She's like 14. But she acts as if she went through the change. Like, she sees lingerie and sort of goes, oh, can you believe we used to wear this, or people used to wear this? She shouldn't even know what the fuck that is. Like, everything, she comes across video games and she's like, remember this game? And it's a game from the bloody 80s. Like, the writing of her character is bizarre. She should just be present in the world she's in and understand it, but she acts like she's come from the bloody 80s and been transported into this world.
Yeah.
They really messed up season 1. They're like it because it's just a movie game. Let's be honest. Like, The Last of Us really wasn't breaking any new ground as a video game, but it was a competently told story, that first game specifically. And it doesn't make sense why they deviated so much for the first. Well, actually, no, it's because what's his face? Druckmann isn't the person, the sole creative behind the story for the first one, but he is the sole creative for the second one. So he's got to rewrite it to fit his own, queer fantasy or whatever.
Yeah, and to give you an idea of how sort of queer fantasy is the right word, there's actually a scene in The Last of Us 2 there in which they take about, it feels like about 10 minutes. It's so boring, but basically there's an entire monologue in which a very young Asian girl explains that her sibling, I don't know if it's a brother or a sister, you'll see why in a second. I think it was originally a girl, and then she cut her hair very short, gave herself like a buzz cut, and started wearing men's clothing because she's trans in the middle of a fucking zombie apocalypse. So they're talking about, they take 10 minutes to do a pro-trans monologue in the middle of a fucking zombie apocalypse, and this becomes a plot point.
Yeah,
that's what The Last of Us season 2 or The Last of Us 2 is.
That's what matters, though, when the world goes to shit, right? We gotta prioritize gender identity, man.
Yeah, gender identity is really what people are going to be preoccupied with in a fucking post-apocalyptic zombie world.
Well, Vex, can we see your other thing? I think people are crying out for boobs there, I think.
Oh, listen, it's the female representation for the stream. See if you can now draw the connection between the roast beef sandwich and women.
Right.
I don't know how she got the role, Bella Ramsey, in this anyway. But if they were always planning on jumping 5 years, why get someone? Her face is not going to change in the next 20 years. Like, she's going to look that weird face for the fucking rest of her life. Like, you could have got an actress that could easily play a teenage and then look like she's at mid-20s. Giving it to her was just insane.
Caitlin Denver, the person they cast for Abby, is actually a perfect Ellie. That's who should have been Ellie. Or the lead chick from Alien Romulus. What was her name?
Yeah, Mola suggested that.
She would have been really good.
Kaylee Spaney.
Yeah.
She would have been great.
Yeah, she would have been a great Ellie as well. And you can do the time jump well with her with just like a little bit of, contouring makeup and whatnot.
She would have been perfect because she could easily play a teenager and easily play mid-20s and late 20s and stuff. Yeah, she would have been really good.
All right, well, we must move on. Oh my God. So it's Vex's favorite thing. It's Star Wars. So out of the Star Wars thing, out of what was it, Tokyo? I'm just trying to get my head around all the projects, because now Ryan Gosling is to star in a new Star Wars film, I think called Starfighter. And then meanwhile, Taika Waititi is on Taika time, according to Kathleen Kennedy, who's promising an update on his Taika Waititi Star Wars film. There's also apparently a Lando film that may or may not be speculatively in production. And then there's The Mandalorian and Grogu, we know that. And then there's the Rey film with Charmin Obaid-Chinoy. And then things get blurry for me, because one of those guys is James Mangold, who may or may not be producing a film set at the birth of the Jedi. And then there's also a new trilogy helmed by Simon Kinberg, who I think is that guy in the middle. So he's apparently doing a trilogy. And then there's the untitled J.D. Dillard and Matt Owens movie, presumed cancelled. And then Kevin Feige Star Wars movie cancelled. The David Benioff and D.B. Wise Star Wars movie is cancelled. So Jesus Christ, these are the ones speculatively on the screen, all their trilogies and films. So The Mandalorian and Grogu, that's a lock. Anything else? Yeah, that's actually going to make it to the screen.
Well, the way they do this, the whole world's just glazed over. Like, we talk about it because it's our job, but to normal people, they just hear these films getting introduced constantly, and I just think everyone's glazed over and doesn't give a fuck anymore. Sorry, we're allowed to say fuck on this show? I don't want to.
I believe so, yeah.
Stand on toes.
I'm just worried about you, Despot, because every time in your video in a Northern Irish accent you say the word CAN''T, I flinch. I worry something bad's going to happen. To the
Do you know what happens? This is happening on a lot of videos now. When I upload it to YouTube for copyright checks and monetization checks, it usually gets demonetized by the algorithm, and then I have it manually checked, and then it gets monetized. But it's probably my accent. Like the algorithm hears me say count or can't. And
don't do it. It makes you flinch.
Misinterprets the words.
God,
the Ryan Gosling. I just love how you can just read how Lucasfilm works. Like Barbie hits $1 billion. It's like they're straight on the phone ringing him up. Just please come over. Like, it's just how they that's their thought process every time.
But Simon Kinberg, who the hell is he? Like, we're at the point with Star Wars now that a trilogy might be going into production and no one even heard, let alone cares that it's maybe in pre-production at some level. It's insane.
At least the whole trilogy is in production and not just the first part of the trilogy, and they'll just kind of pick up the second part as they go, and then the third will retcon the second that didn't know about the first. So I think we're making progress here. We're going to get it. We're going to get it.
This whole talk of trilogy standalone, just make a film. I can't stand all this anymore. Like, just don't worry about trilogies. If something's good, then make a part 2, make a part 3. But this going into no names, well, not no names, but directors that just haven't, half the time they haven't even made a feature film and give them a trilogy is just insane.
Yeah. What do we have here? I thought this might happen at some stage. I thought this might be an issue. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know how he got a link to the stream, so I just have to bear this out.
Hello, man babies. Hello, Echo, and all you acolytes of Echo. Fresh off the private jet from Tokyo, back from Star Wars Celebration, and, great news. Got the trilogy. It's coming, man babies. So I thought I'll write a little song and I'll debut it for you on your channel tonight. So here we go. Get your Star Wars pants at the ready. This is
ridiculous,
guys. Okay.
Don't know how we got a link to this stream.
I'll get the key in a minute. Bear with me. Feel it, man, babies.
Get on with it.
You can dance in your Star Wars pants, having the time of your life. 3 movies courtesy of me. I am the trilogy queen. Oh, it's true, man, babies. Friday night at the cinema show. You ask your friends, they don't want to go to watch a ruined movie, a Star Wars parody. You're in the mood for a laugh. Anybody could write this shit, but with Kathy's help, it's a box office hit. The Disney shills will eat it like a sandwich made of turds while you sit there lost for words. Your eyes and the credits roll. I am the trilogy queen, round-headed mean like a moody teen. Trilogy queen, Disney shits on your movie screen. Oh yeah. You can dance in your Star Wars pants, have been the time of your life. 3 movies courtesy of me. I'm the trilogy queen. Oh, come on, Brownie. Oh, la 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 la.
Oh no. Whee!
Coming in hot 2034.
All right. Well, I'm sorry you all had
Bravo.
to endure that.
I was going to say,
That
where
was
was Brownie
lovely.
under the desk? What was going on
Yeah.
there?
Anyway, so it looks like the Rian Johnson trilogy is the only one that we're actually going to get out of all of this, apart from The Mandalorian and Grogu. So fantastic.
Can I say my
Ugh.
all-time favorite moment on Twitter was seeing Ryan Johnson tweet "Ruin Johnson"? That was the
Oh.
highlight
Yeah, that
of
was great.
Twitter.
Yeah. Mm. All right. Well, let's hope we don't get demonetized for that ABBA cover. I like this paragraph. I just took this paragraph because I love it so much, and I laugh every time I read it because it's so bullshit. It has almost no content. No new details have yet been shared about the 6 upcoming Star Wars movies, though it is possible that more updates will be shared. While new announcements have been made about the movies since they were originally announced, the fact that they have been so proudly represented at Star Wars Celebration implies that there is significant internal confidence that development will continue apace and that the movies will indeed eventually make their way into the theaters. Given this implication, it seems likely that the projects have not been substantially altered from when they were originally announced. What an
That
exciting
sounds-
paragraph. I
That's
love
like
that
if you
paragraph so
take
much.
if you take the word no and translate it into corporate speak, that's what you get. Just
Yeah.
a paragraph of shite.
This
When
is
you
just
got-
if you want the SEO optimized paragraph to hit the
Uh-huh.
Google algorithm. There you go.
Yeah.
That 500 word count assignment.
I think
you
this
gotta
is
make
from,
that shit stretch out.
So this is from Deadline, I believe. I've read this paragraph.
We
maybe a
might
dozen
see
times.
these films, and they might be confident. It's it's very exciting.
Well, it implies that they might be confident, which is
It's like a
Maybe.
concerned father turning around to his, layabout, wastrel but intelligent son and saying, "Son, what are you doing with your life?" And rather than saying nothing, Dad, the son just spins him this long-winded pile of bollocks intended. Well,
Yeah.
at present, I don't have any immediate ambitions, but I am pondering a number of schemes that I think could potentially be profitable in the future if things go my way. Like,
Yeah.
just
And I think
Exactly
I'm
what it-
excited about those ambitions. I think could be.
I could
Yeah.
be, or I could not be, and they may or may not pan out. But my confidence in them suggests that there will be a measure of success at some point in the future.
And then takes another hit from the bong.
Exactly, yeah. Oh god. No, it took several hits from the bong prior, and is quite intelligent, but is trying to be cogent and coherent through the fact that they're stoned while their dad is in the room. That's what this paragraph. Oh god. Vex, you're with me on this. We're not Corin Sweats stands. I trust my long range cultural radar. I trust it now. I know when stuff isn't going to work. All right. I have the long range shipping forecast of cultural news now.
Hold on, what's your
And-
resume on this, Echo? When have you been right when you're saying I know something isn't going to work? Give us an example.
How long have you got? Name any project.
No, anything,
No,
anything. Like,
All right.
Like, when have
The
you said, no,
Acolyte,
that-
I knew within as quickly as it takes light to travel 1 yard, I knew the Acolyte was going to be a disaster.
Oh, God.
fair enough.
So here's the thing, Superman, you've got to have a super awesome actor that everyone loves and finds endearing. So if it's the first Superman or if it's Henry Cavill, there's got to be some wholesomeness, even a bit of sweetness there. He's got to come across as extremely valiant. He's got to come across as having a charisma. Oh no, we lost Greg for a second. He's got to have all those things, and there's got to be a magnetism, and he's got to be kind of almost a little bit guileless in one way, but also morally incredibly centered in the other. He's kind of like a mixture of Jesus Christ crossed with your dad, crossed with like the all-American hero, mushed together psychologically. And so he's the character in himself isn't especially interesting in terms of its personality, is actually quite limited in a lot of ways. So it's got to be the actor who can imbue it with that wholesomeness, that valiant nature, and he's the guy who's the hero who's going to save the day. And I don't even know who this guy is before this project. And if this is DC's gigantic roll of the dice to get things back up and running, their entire slate cascading after this is dependent on the success of this. And this is the guy wearing that suit? Facts, I'm not
Has
crazy.
he been in anything? I don't even know who he is.
Well, yeah, I don't know who he is either.
He's a no-name actor. The last big role he had was as a secondary character in Twisters. Like he was he was Glenn Powell's like second in command or the woman's second in command. They tried to make him an antagonist. I'm very normie to this, so I haven't read the Superman comics or anything like that. I've just watched the films, right? Just every time I've seen an image of this guy, if you can even call him a guy, because he looks like he's kind of lacking testosterone, but he doesn't embody anything masculine or kind of like quintessentially American. Like anytime I think Superman, I think there's like a figure that kind of represents everything idealistic and almost pure about American culture way back when Superman was originally conceived. And this just kind of feels like a kid wearing his mom's shoes kind of deal, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
I don't understand.
Average throwback to those kind of 90s era Supermans they had, like they were TV shows or whatever, like Lewis and Clark or whatever. It's just that kind of aesthetic. This doesn't feel on a grand scale. And they got a dog.
I keep seeing people try to justify this costume, be like, oh, well, they'll fix it in post-production so it fits better, but they didn't do that with any of the other Supermans. So why is he getting a pass or a justification? Also, this suit just looks fucking stupid. I'm sorry. It's lacking any sort of like personality or uniqueness. It doesn't even, aside from the color scheme, nothing about this screams Superman. It's Halloween costumey.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is. Yeah. What's the term we always use? It's like Timu Superman.
Yeah, Timu. Yep. He doesn't even have a jawline that you would hope.
Yeah, you're right. Exactly. Superman has to have a jawline.
Yeah.
I could just see this guy like with a beer in his hand walking down the street on Halloween night. It would just make the picture so perfectly.
You're right. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
And then you'd think, oh, wow, he looks really good. Let me stop and get a photo with him. It wouldn't be one of the ones that you remember. Do you know what I mean? Like when you're walking around on Halloween night, looking for people to get photos with you, you wouldn't be that memorable. Just like, oh yeah, the Superman guy. Nothing special.
When you look through your photos the next day, you would be like,
the drunk girls would like you. Yeah.
Yeah. If you saw this guy in Halloween, he'd be like stuck between not quite a brilliant effort, but also too much of an effort. And you think there was something slightly off? Greg, you must have some thoughts about the Superman.
I mean, I agree with you. He looks weird, but these behind the scenes photos always look a little weird. I mean, I've seen the trailers. I'm not excited about it, but I'm also not super pessimistic about it. I think that I don't have a ton of attachment to the character or the franchise, so I don't really have much to be like angry about. But this looks odd, but I think, I don't know. I think once they edit it and everything will look right, but it is the one thing that does concern me is that the suit doesn't seem to fit. And if they made it for him, why is wardrobe not doing their job and giving this guy a suit that does fit him? Why should they even have to fix it? That is concerning. But
it looks like a wetsuit.
It does.
Bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to make a very strange and abstract analogy here. It looks like an actor who played Superman in a minor Superman show 20 years ago has ironically bought out their costume as a kind of ironic gag to wear on Halloween. That's my analogy.
Yeah, or Saturday Night Live or something. He's going on a Tonight Show and he's desperate for attention.
But in The Boys, where Homelander, his suit is contoured to look like it's muscular, but it also kind of looks rough. That's kind of the same thing they got here. It just doesn't. It looks terrible.
Maybe it's supposed to look terrible. We don't know the plot. This could be like an early version of his suit where he's not really, he's not fully
Don't try to
actualized
justify
as
it.
Superman.
Don't do that.
I'm
Yeah.
just thinking, like that happens in the first Superman movie or Spider-Man when in the real, but the only fucking good Spider-Man movies, which were the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. The rest are shit. Okay. So in the first one, when he goes to that wrestling tournament, he looks ridiculous, right? And if that had been showing up on, little press shots before the movie, people would have thought, "What the fuck is this?" But it works really well, Although I doubt that's what's going on here, but it's possible. We don't know.
That had the best line in those movies. Did your boyfriend make your outfit? A line they just cannot do today.
No, that's true. Oh.
But what?
So
But
that's,
and for Echo, this is for you. You were saying you can pick any disaster or mole off. Did you think
Absolutely.
Guardians of the Galaxy was going to be good when they were talking about that film?
I think that was I hadn't quite developed my channel at that point. My instincts my antenna hadn't quite started to twitch properly at that point.
I always
so
have that in the back of the
post-Guardians.
brain that James Gunn pulled that off. And I still
Yeah,
think that's
true.
amazing that he pulled that off and made it one of the better, superhero films. And it seemed like it was going to be ridiculous. So I've always got that in my head going, well, you never know. You might just get this right.
He's just been doing the same thing since Guardians of the Galaxy 1, though. Let's be honest. So
He's trying to recreate that success.
yeah, and it just gets worse and worse with every
Yeah,
movie that he
yeah.
tries to do it. So
Well, I mean, it's a magic formula. It obviously worked for Concord. They took Guardians of the Galaxy and ran with it, and it was a triumph that made them billions of dollars. All right, so that's that. All right.
Echo, are you booting us one at a time when you don't like something?
No,
we
I don't know
say?
what the fuck is going on. What's wrong with you people? I thought my internet's usually shit, but you guys keep dropping off like flies.
You're doing them in order. Vex is next, and then it's my turn.
oh no.
Okay. Overnight ratings. So in the first season debut episode with Ncuti Gatwa, they got 2.6 million views for the overnights, which was considered a disaster, a catastrophe. And they even had to go on and try and say, the numbers aren't where we'd like them to be, which by BBC's admission is like saying, we utterly destroyed something. The overnights for episode 2 of the second season, 1.58 million. By far, not just the lowest in the history of the 60 years of the show, but by far the lowest in the 60 years of the show. And that's including and giving an accounting for the population growth in the UK since 1963.
So that includes the very first season.
Yes.
Wow.
So back then there's only like 2 channels or whatever, but
Yeah, you had to watch it.
yeah, but still, the population has grown by 20 million since then to account for that. And this is a cultural institution. So my message is very, very simple to Russell T Davies and Ncuti Gatwa. Go fuck yourselves. Your identity politics horse shit, your sanctimonious, frivolous flouncing around on the screen, you're dumbing the show down to make it super shallow, the relentless messaging, the utter posturing online, the blaming of anyone else for your limitations, flaws, and ridiculous blind spots. You're thinking that there's an audience out there that is going to wholeheartedly embrace this, and then there's a whole bunch of fuddy-duddy reactionaries on the wrong side of history who are too neurotic and insecure about societal change, and they need to go and touch grass. Go fuck yourselves. You took a
I don't think you have
beloved
to tell them. I think
institution.
they seem to be fucking themselves hard already.
Oh, I'm so angry about this. Doctor Who was an institution that's special, and its specialness has gone. And I think even if they put it on a hiatus for 3 or 4 years, I think you'd still even struggle to get the magic back because it's been so wrecked. I think, what was my phrase I used that I kind of remember? Something about, how much necrophiliac fellatio can you continue to do until the jaw rots and falls off? And
Oh
with the
my
show, I think
God.
they finally found out. So, yeah, I don't want to keep swearing about it, but I'm angry about this show and the
Vivid
posturing
imagery.
and the identity politics nonsense.
Has anyone seen either of these 2 episodes?
No.
I've seen, I couldn't see them, but I saw someone's video on it, and they included a still shot of a white male, Tisbit, okay, and it's obviously an insecure white male and toxically masculine white male. So I want you to envisage in your mind what that white male might look like. Okay, now you've been through a lot. You've been in the trenches. You're traumatized from watching 300 commercials featuring smatterings of white men. So are you ready? Because here comes the white man in the still shot from the episode.
Yeah, I've seen this episode. I didn't watch episode 2, but that guy, he turns out to be the bad guy. So basically, episode 1 is Planet of the Incels. This guy is taken away to a planet by robots, and then he takes control of the robots and makes them do his bidding. He conquers the planet with these robots, and he starts torturing people and brutalizing them for his own amusement. And he becomes metallic and becomes sort of one with the robot AI. And then he sends the robot.
So just quick question. Someone said it in Planet of the Incels as well in the comments. Is that literally the name of the episode?
I don't know. I don't care.
Someone else.
No,
maybe that's what
it's a line from the episode. It's a line from the episode.
Yeah. So basically, the Indian girl, the British Indian, she sees this guy inside the AI machine. It opens up to reveal him. That's the big reveal. And then she looks at him and goes, "Planet of the Incels." And the whole point is that this incel guy who wanted to marry her is so insecure that he has, his violent incel rage has caused a war on this planet. And then we get a flashback to when he proposes to the Indian girl, and he says, "Will you marry me?" And she says, and he goes, "Oh, and before you answer, no texting after 8 p.m. And you're going to have to stop working and just be in the house all day." He says something to that effect, because he's an incel and he wants to control women. And then she says, "No, I'm not going to marry you." And so this whole robot war is like his revenge, like incel revenge. It's so out of touch, man. It's so fucking, it's just woke. It's just woke garbage. And look, we're past that now, man. This isn't cool anymore. Okay. You're showing up to the fucking club in disco pants and it's 1983. Okay. You look fucking pathetic. It's done. It's past.
I don't watch Doctor Who, but I'm just gonna say, if my husband proposed to me and he said, "You're not gonna work anymore, you're just gonna stay in the house," that'd be a dream come true for me. I don't want to work. I'd love to just be a homemaker. This doesn't sound terrible at all.
Hey, Strugan.
What gets me with Doctor Who is I was always more of a Star Wars.
Unbelievable.
But Doctor Who's always been around. Is that the blueprint was so ingrained? Like it's just such a, like Star Wars, you could see someone fucking it up. Like the blueprint was quite messy, after the prequels. So you could see someone getting that wrong and then maybe correcting it. But Doctor Who, it's such an institution and such a set-in blueprint of how these stories should be told. And to see where it's gone is it's fucking criminal.
I was watching Dave Cullen talk about it, and I guess to really drive the point home, he was saying that whatever the most recent episode had lower ratings than some medical drama, some whatever serial medical, and the news, and then some game show whose name I can't recall. It was something that sort of rhymed. And so he was just making the point that like the everyday news, some random game show, and some random medical drama were all higher in the ratings than this show, which is like it's like synonymous with BBC, and it's just nobody cares. They'd rather watch a game show than this. That's crazy.
Ncuti Gatwa as well is just exhausting to watch. His shtick. I think Ncuti Gatwa has a good shtick. I think the guy would be good in a 5-minute sort of secondary role in a movie, because I do think he can act. But he was
in Barbie as one of the background dancers in Barbie Land. Perfect role for him.
That's perfect for him. But it's like, I mean, I know Echo has seen Bros, and do you know how Billy Eichner is just this horrifying presence on screen, and you just want him to go away the entire time? But he might be okay for 1% of a movie. Like he comes in and he's that annoying guy that everybody hates, and he annoys people with his, "I'm so gay and annoying" shtick, which is basically how he made his career. And they're like, "Okay, yeah, go away now," and that would be okay for literally 30 seconds, but not 2 hours. That's kind of like an extreme version of Ncuti Gatwa. Ncuti Gatwa's he's fucking awful, man. His dancing and his prancing and his big fucking heel kicks in the air and his overpronunciation of every word. It's just shut the fuck up. And he's just horrible. He's not a leading man. He's just not. He's fucking awful. He's exhausting to watch. And after a while, he's like a friend in high school who tries way too hard to be liked and is being really fake. And it's exhausting to be around. And you're just like, oh man, please fuck off. We've all known that guy. You know, that guy that shows up at a party and it's just, to use an old word that has died out, but should come back, he's a drag. Because you look at him and you think, oh, fuck me, that guy. And he's going to make it all about himself and he's not going to shut up and he's going to be trying to impress he's going to try to impress all the girls. Fuck me, and you're not going to be able to get away from him. He's that guy. Shooty Gatwa is the screen equivalent of that guy. He's such a fucking drag, man.
You're at school and you're chatting up a girl and things are teetering on, on the balance and things could go either way. It seems to be going all right. And then he stumps up with something like, hey, we're going to throw eggs at the teacher's car. Come on, let's go. And he's going to like embarrass you and by association. So they introduced the trans woman actor in the show who saves the cosmos by being a bridging force between the Doctor and something else through her transgenderism. And then they had
it sounds like you're just making this up as you're going along.
Right.
You wouldn't know.
Is this serious?
I'm like listening going, this is what's happened to Echo.
Yeah. And then
Does she tell Shooty that he
Are you
wouldn't
reading that
understand because
news
he
article from
something?
earlier? Like, is this the next paragraph?
No. And then I always forget who's the guy who the apple fell on his head.
The what?
The scientist.
Oh,
scientist.
Isaac Newton.
Yeah, Isaac Newton was Indian, so Vex, you get some representation on the screen, or South Asian. So that was great. And then there was someone in a wheelchair who can fire laser blasts out of her wheelchair to also save the day. And then there was Russell T Davies, who was gay, having a gay actor who then has a crossover period with the transgender actress. And then there's episodes where it's hinted that he had sexual relations with Harry Houdini at one point. And then there was, it's all blurring into one now. And then there's an episode where he goes back in time to a Bridgerton type thing, and there's like a gay kiss on the screen. And then he cries in literally every single episode. Huge opalescent tears that trickle down the face. And then what else happens? And then now there's this incel guy. So when they're doing these sessions around the writing table, they're doing their table reads. Is it like Concord, where there's just a kind of a blanking out where no one can say the reality that you always have to be positive about this, otherwise you might be on the outer? So everyone has to have this bizarre idea that they're on the right side of history, and they're pushing this resistant mule of a TV show along with society itself to a better place. And do they have the perspective that, yeah, it got 1.58, but no, we're ahead of the curve. We're ahead of where society should be, and society will eventually end up. So even though we have to take the hit on this, we have a kind of martyrdom to us, and we have to be humble about that because we're in the right direction. If we're a little ahead of the curve, then if that's reflected in the ratings, that's not essentially our problem. That's that society is yet to come to terms with where society should be, and eventually this show will be the winner in the end. So that's, I guess, how they frame it.
The easiest comedy to write would be an office-style comedy just set in the writer's room for Doctor Who.
Oh, yeah.
Because maybe that's what they're doing. Maybe this is all a big stooge, and they're actually making a comedy show in the writer's room, and that's the show we're eventually going to get. Because you hear this, and I cannot imagine how those meetings go. But I'm sure you could just take everything they literally say and put it into a comedy setting, and it would work. It's just too bizarre.
Well, you also forgot the talking babies who winked at the camera and told us that we need to be pro-choice. But then they were
you've gone too far. We're not believing this anymore.
I swear to God, there was a pro-choice message by talking babies who were running from a sentient snot monster. A monster made of snot, baby snot, came to life in the ship, and the babies reminded us that the they made it illegal to turn off the baby making machine, and that's why they're stuck out there. The poor babies aren't being taken care of because they wouldn't allow them to turn off the baby making machine.
Now you're taking the piss now. I know you're all trying to see how gullible Robot Head is and what he'll believe, because that is bullshit.
No, then one of the doctor's assistant turns around and says something like, "So the people down on that planet, they refuse to stop the babies being born, but once they're born, they don't take care of them," which is, of course, a not so veiled attack on pro-lifers, because one of the arguments is, well, if the baby's born and you're not going to take care of it, then we should kill it, right? That's literally their argument.
And then they have the gender fluid godlike figure that tries to destroy the cosmos. No, I'm just fucking with you. That's not actually in there.
Is this what it's like to be on the spectrum? This is like, that's what it feels like you're describing right now.
Yeah.
This is actually written television. This is what the BBC is putting out.
That or a bad acid trip. It's one of those two.
Do you know what it is, though? People give so small of a fuck about Doctor Who now that even if you were to make YouTube videos, I don't think anyone would watch them, man.
No.
Yeah.
If you said, season 2 of Doctor Who is woke garbage, no one's watching it. Nobody gives a fuck anymore.
And is that
I forgot to mention
the first 2 episodes?
No, that's across the first season, I think. But Robert, hey, do you remember Davros?
Yes.
Yeah, so now they decided that it would be a bad representation to have him in a wheelchair or support device because that gives negative connotations about disabled people, that they might be evil in some way or have Machiavellian plans and instincts. So they had Davros standing, so he's no longer he's able-bodied now.
But what people in wheelchairs are evil, aren't they? I always avoid them. I thought that was part of the deal.
Yeah, even though it's so bizarre because they had a good person character, one of the hero leads for a bit, who was in a wheelchair, to completely debunk the idea of what they're suggesting about people in wheelchairs. So, oh god. Anyway,
someone said there's a Jimmy Savile cameo. Common people said there's a Jimmy Savile cameo. Is there?
Well, this guy on the screen, he might mean like a young Jimmy Savile, but I don't know.
That looks like a still from a Saturday Night Live skit. For real.
Yeah,
that hair, like.
So anyway, as Ian David Diaz would say, it's shit, basically, just to sum it up.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. Oh, speaking of which, so I did a video about this, and I thought it's fascinating. The rate and scale of the collapse of trans ideology has been extraordinary to me. If you think in terms of multi-generational movements of social liberation and recognition, from the suffragettes and feminism through civil rights, through homosexual law reform, this is the first of those narratives to not actually come to a grinding halt, but to actually kind of go backwards and then to be invalidated. So last year there was the Cass report by Hilary Cass, an utterly respected retired pediatrician, revered by everyone, whose most comprehensive report found that there was a vast majority of people, young people undergoing identity distress, won't need to have any sort of medical alleviation for that there's massive problems around puberty blockers and lack of information, leading to a whole bunch of reforms. And then the UK Supreme Court came up with the extraordinarily controversial unanimous decision that women is related to biological women. So here's the interesting thing for me is that I raised the point that the trans community or trans ideologues and activists, I don't want to put them all together because I think trans people generally I'm totally cool and fine with. There's a difference for me between trans people and trans ideology, and I want to conflate the two. So the ideologues and the activists, their envisaged an ideal opponent was conservative reactionaries. But that's not the opponent they got. The opponent they got was institutional, the type of people that's supposed to be on their side, the people that's supposed to underpin them. So if you can't contest against Hilary Cass or the UK Supreme Court, because if you're from the liberal side, you're expecting institutions are the things that you extol as evidence-based, as rational, as all that kind of stuff. And so they've been completely blindsided because they didn't get the adversary they ideally wanted and needed. They got the adversary institutional that they envisaged being on their side, and it's left them with nothing to say and almost nowhere to go. And it's an extraordinary collapse.
Well, it's more than just the institutions as well. It's groups that formerly, again, with that, it's hard not to do super generalizations, but it's groups that people on the left assume will be with them and now are not. So you can find a lot of folks, especially in America, you can find a lot of folks online, Black creators who will find videos of trans people saying, you know, this is our civil rights. And you have these Black creators that are like, no, the fuck it isn't. Civil rights is our thing. You can't sit with us. You have women like J.K. Rowling that have been, I mean, for ever since what's his name was given Woman of the Year award, Caitlin, and I can't even remember his original name, but ever since then, you've had lots of women who have said, Kris Jenner, who have said, this is you're erasing us. You can't do this. And ironically, they were told to shut up about what their opinion on womanhood was. You have, even at this point, I believe you have a lot of gay folks. You have people, again, I'm seeing creators online who are saying, look, it's the LGB. The rest of that is bullshit, because what's happening is you have these folks who, and this is going to shock you guys, that the slope was indeed steep and slippery as fuck, as predicted. It's crazy. But they're saying these kids, there's trans kids, and you have even gay folks that are like, whoa, maybe they're not trans. Maybe they're just gay. Maybe those boys that are a little effeminate, maybe they're just gay. And then the studies, of course, will prove out that a lot of them do just grow up to realize, oh, I'm just gay. I'm not a girl. I just like other boys. So, and vice versa for the girls. So you have all these groups that formerly would have been under the umbrella of what we might call, you know, liberals or the left or whatever term you want to use. And they leaned in on this trans thing. And those same groups were like, hold on, the ideas that you're pushing actively either co-opt us or they erase us in certain instances. And we're not on board with this at all. So it really be your own people is what I like to say. That's a phrase that I use a lot. So.
Yeah, I mean, you can't put a disproportionate focus on this stuff politically and expect to win Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Michigan in the Electoral College. It's not going to happen. So I'm glad that this internecine, I guess say that right, battle is starting to happen in liberalism, because it's long overdue.
Doesn't matter if you say it right. I still don't know what that word means.
Fair enough. So yeah, there was also
Australia, that's okay. We don't know what half the words mean.
There was also FINA in 2022 decreed that they were not going to have transgender athletes. And then what else? The Hogwarts Legacy game. Remember that boycott? It was so sweet, that little boycott.
Yep.
It's adorable.
They thought they were going to bring it to its knees. They were going to attack, Twitch streamers, and they were going to put them on blast and do all this. It was such a cute, delightful little boycott.
But at the same time, that backfired massively, because it was just like a sort of a band of morons armed with sticks charging at a fort and just being mown down. It backfired horribly, because not only did they prove beyond a doubt that their numbers are far, far tinier than their online presence and their online noise would suggest, but they also looked like psychopaths and sociopaths, because they were sending death threats to streamers who were playing Hogwarts Legacy. I don't mean like fucking right wing, super MAGA streamers who are like, you fucking asshole trans motherfuckers in the comments. I don't give a fuck what you do, motherfucker. No, I just mean normies, fucking absolute, totally neutral politically, never mention politics. Normies were getting death threats for playing Hogwarts on stream. So it exposed the trans movement as this pack of absolute nut jobs who were perfectly happy to immiserate and threaten people to pursue their own twisted agenda, and that really hurt them. More than people realize, that Hogwarts thing was just disastrous for them.
Yeah. One person who I think deserves the most retroactive recognition and rehabilitation isn't J.K. Rowling, it's Macy Gray. Remember when she went on a talk show and she was saying that she disagreed with transgender ideology because it invalidated girlhood as a lived experience, that, girlhood with all its travails, its pitfalls, its difficulties, as something that no one else can really understand. And she resented the idea that trans ideology would want to invalidate that because it might get in the way of someone transitioning being authentic in a way. So Macy Gray is the one who deserves a bit, I think, retroactively to be rehabilitated and back into the mainstream culture. Because Vex, you'd agree that girlhood's a whole thing, right, in and of itself, that's very incredibly defining, and you can't just flick a switch to invalidate
totally agree.
that.
Yeah, no, I'm totally agreement there.
Yeah. So anyway, Robot Head, I'm not sure if your interest in this issue or general understanding proceeds further than Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, but you might have some thoughts.
I'm just disappointed. I was looking forward to being in the next Olympics. I was going to enter about 5 different categories and thought, here's my chance. My time's come to be good at something. But now, God, can't go in and dominate. So I thought the boxing could be fun.
Yeah, it would have been good.
But, someone beat me to that. we had a guy win that last time, didn't we?
Well, it was another point I made, is that they couldn't. Trans athletes, we've all seen the Olympics where maybe you see like a swimming event where it comes down to 0.01 of a second. And so if you're trying to tell athletes who have given up the lion's share of their youth to being in a pool, sacrificing everything, social engagements, money, assets, to just train and train and train through the hard labor of that, and you have to look them in the eye and say, our science and our testosterone measurement levels things, we can level that playing field right down to that 0.1 of a second. That was asking too much. And so it just became farcical after a point. So what's going to happen to all those gender neutral bathrooms in about 5 years?
Oh, good call. Family bathrooms?
I guess.
What women want to share?
Has anybody ever seen a gender? I've seen unisex bathrooms, but a gender neutral bathroom, I've never seen one. Has anybody?
Don't think I have.
I've seen 2 in Toronto.
Yeah, they have them here in America.
I mean, in the places that Vex is talking about, I imagine this is like some sort of woke hippie coffee shop or something. Like they're just going to keep it. It's because it's a virtue signal. It's its main function.
Pretty much.
It's like people that wear masks to this day. I mean, once you've said certain things like all of humanity will die if we don't do this, you can't walk that back. There's no going back. You have to live that forever.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be kind of sad, like in 20 or 30 years' time, if the culture has had a bit of redress over this issue, and you're an athlete who was in the Olympics or some, regional heat even, or some regional competition or the Commonwealth Games, and you were beaten by a trans athlete, and 20 years the culture has changed, then that's going to eat at you and just be, reside with you for the rest of your life.
The real tragedy of the trans movement is the trans kids, the butchered, you could call them. These little kids who had these horrible surgeries because of decisions that was made by adults when they were children. Their lives are ruined forever. They will never have children. They will probably not be able to have relationships because, as crude as it sounds, no one wants to fuck that. And it's really sad and it's tragic, and their lives are going to be destroyed, and they're going to have a very high suicide rate. And it's a crime against humanity, honestly. Heads need to roll.
Yeah, it's attack against gay people. That's the weirdest part. Like Ruby Rose got into trouble, the Australian actress, because she said, she thought she wanted to be a boy when she was young and was a tomboy and running around as a tomboy, and then she laughed that she was just a lesbian and got attacked for that. So it's the weirdest fight I've ever seen. It's men again dominating women's spaces and then attacking young gay kids for being gay. It's just so bizarre.
Crazy.
I think that's been the turning point, hasn't it? Like male chauvinism somehow in a really weird elliptical way has become the thing that people go, oh, at the very heart of this is a male chauvinism, which I don't like. That's been the strange, kooky little twist. It's so strange.
It has been odd to point out that people, you'd be like, so you would rather, you're engaging with this bears versus men thing, and you'd pick the bear and all of this, but then turn around and be like,
yeah,
those guys should be in the bathroom though. That's perfectly safe.
I love when arguments become so twisted that when you think about it logically, it becomes insane. There was a guy on my last video, he sent me this really angry comment because I was angry about these pro-euthanasia messages that appeared in the London subway.
Mm-hmm.
And he wrote something like, "How fucking dare you? My mother was in pain and suffering for the last 3 months of her life." And I'm thinking, wait, bro, stop, bro, stop. You, what you're saying to me,
My brother in Christ,
is you're angry that you weren't able. You're angry that you weren't able to kill your mother.
In
And
Minecraft.
that's all of us. That is all of us.
Well, at one point or
We're
another,
with
yeah.
you.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the
Uh,
trans thing. It's like feminists defending men's rights to beat up women in like boxing and MMA. That's what this became.
It's inside.
It became utterly nuts.
There's someone in the chat said the Tavistock Inquiry. Yeah, so that was the Tavistock Centre in the UK. It shuttered its doors in 2023 because there was tons of dubious stuff alleged to have gone on. And then the BBC did an inquiry with this stoic journalist who, yeah, they found that there was a whole bunch of dubious stuff there. Then the venerable old Atlantic, that most New England of periodicals, put out an article saying take detransition seriously, and so they flew with that. And so, yeah, in my lifetime, I've never seen like a social movement, because it's so weird, because after Oberg fell in 2015, it just seemed like the trans thing would just be like a minor addendum, and then we'd be kind of done with all this gender identity stuff. But then the ideologues, they had to be absolutist. They would not cede any ground. They would not cede any ground ideologically or literally about spaces. And it just got to a point where it became one huge tautology, and it collapsed under its own weight. If they'd just backed off, if they hadn't been absolutist, we might not be in this situation. And now I feel sad for some people who are with severe gender dysphoria, who saw that decision in the court and feel that their identity has been invalidated, and they might go to a very dark place. And I hope that nothing bad happens to them. So as the court said in its findings, we don't want to see this as one side having a victory or one side gloating over another in society, which is absolutely true. And again, for me, it's not about trans people, it's about trans ideology. And I think people are just starting to generally sort of pass those things and take the ideology down a peg. So we're going through a corrective, which is extraordinary, because, the churn we're experiencing in society and culture and entertainment right now, it's quite extraordinary. It's going to see, are we reaching the high water mark of the churn and the pushback? Or would there be possibly a counter where things go back the other way? I kind of feel my instincts are that I don't think it's going to come sweeping back the other way. Even if there was a Democratic administration swept into power in a landslide, I don't think much of this identity politics would come back with it. I kind of have that feeling. I think we've reached a crucial point.
No, but Disposer, right? They went too far.
Yeah,
that's why
Greg,
it's not going
do
to
you think
back.
that like raging identity politics could come back into fashion in the United States?
No, I don't think so. I think we've pretty much hit a place where you've got a bunch of factors. One, everybody's kind of broke, and they're realizing that they just really actually don't give a shit when they're worried about other things that are real. And then the other issue is that there isn't, that I can think of, there isn't a lot of tangible goal left. And I think that in the last decade, you've seen both sides sort of lose by winning, where especially for a lot of liberals, when in America, when gay rights or gay marriage, was ratified in the Supreme Court, there were a lot of gay people who were like, okay, we did it. Like, this is what we wanted. We got it. We're happy. Great. And then a lot of their supporters also felt like, now what do we, now, there's really not much, there's not a lot of, there's not a real tangible goal that we can say, okay, when we cross this line, we did it. There just isn't much left. So now it's degrees. Well, there aren't enough, the vice president was a half Jamaican, half Indian, first woman under 42 to run for the presidency. So we're doing all this degree stuff. So that's one thing. The money thing is another. I think a lot of folks are really over it, and they realize how fickle it is. And they realize how, what would be, there were a lot of folks that I think were like moderate to the left who thought very much like Ms. Rowling, who thought, wow, what I thought was common sense 5 years ago now makes me a horrible, horrible bigot. And I didn't do anything. I don't believe that I moved, but now I'm being called these names. So I think all of it is kind of coalescing that it's not going to come back. But
I mean, if people, like I said, if people in Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, and if enough of them say you're talking about this and you're not talking about me, then that's the situation.
Yeah.
Shall we do some super chats just while we've got them racking up here?
Sure.
M8566, friend to the channel, icon of the channel, gifted 20 Echo Chamberlain memberships. Well, that's far too generous of you, mate 566. So go crazy. It's a lolly scramble there for everyone to take up those memberships. So appreciate that, brah. So much so that I don't even use the word brah. I'm using it specially and singularly for you. Finally, Vex has entered the echo chamber, M8566 declares exuberantly as a member for 8 months. Yeah, it's been ludicrously long amongst it. So we're all glad to see her there. Ballistic Mick for Australia, $5. $5 toward a second term for Echo Chamberlain. Yeah, I'm not even going to make it through my first term. I'm going to go senile and have to be replaced by my vice president. Hemorrhoid Hurts, also icon of the channel, for Australia, $2. Bro. Well, bro, right back at you, bro. Dude, yeah. Bass player 2011 Iffy for $1.99. They cut the bigot sandwich line. That's from he's talking about The Last of Us, right?
Yeah.
What does that mean, Greg?
In the beginning, that whole scene where the guy has to apologize and the little humiliation ritual, the 2 minutes hate, she says she calls them bigot sandwiches 2 or 3 times. I think it was in the game. It was not subtle at all, even less subtle.
That sounds delicious.
Yeah.
I'd love a bigot sandwich. Dang.
In the finally saw there were meals probably made from bigots, so they already covered that in the previous town.
I finally saw, because I'd watched the Veilguard cutscene where Tash sits down and declares, "So I'm non-binary," and I've laughed a million times at that. But I finally saw the one where the person has to misgenders her and then has to do like 10 push-ups as a self-inflicted punishment. Yeah. So that was also quite special.
But does that game. Does like 5.
Laura St. Martin, $10. Despot, you are my favorite YouTuber. Well, I think he's everyone's favorite YouTuber at this point.
Thank you very much, Laura. I appreciate that.
What are your subs at now, Despot?
128, I think.
Nice job. That's great.
Very nice.
Ballistic Mick again for Australia, $5. I came for the Vex, stayed for Robot Head. I feel dirty.
So do I.
Yeah, thank you, Ballistic Mick. The Right Tackle for $5. Just read Chris Bulkman's horror fantasy historical fiction Between Two Fires and loved it. And have any of you read it? And if so, portray your thoughts. Well, I can't say that I've read that Between Two Fires.
Yeah, I have not either, but I have heard good things about this. 2 people have recommended it to me.
Okay,
I might check that one out myself. I haven't though.
Who's that in the image? It looks like Bret the Hitman Hart almost. Okay. AJ Hawk's Toxic Finger for $5. Bella Ramsey looks like a trans version of Willie Wiggins the Kid from Dazed and Confused. Weird AF looking now. Is that like the main protagonist kid? I think I know who he's talking about. Like the main kid that we sort of follow, the junior kid in that one. Because if so, I think he's absolutely correct. And finally here, it's Immaterial, $5. Great name. Great panel as always. Greg, I think you'd fit well in streams like the Critical Drinkers too, if you have the time. Yeah, if you could be bothered to show up to open bar,
I suppose I'll pencil him in.
Just accept one of his invitations one of these days, Greg. You got to stop cold shouldering that guy.
Yeah,
I know.
He keeps getting in touch with all of us and saying, "What's wrong with Greg? What have I done
build
wrong?"
Up the suspense,
Yeah.
It's like, is it me? Is it him? Like, what's happening?
You gotta
like,
make him
say anything.
It's
like, I feel like I'm the victim of his passive aggression.
I thought this was interesting. Guess who's back? Back again. In a film called 1780. Are we ready for a revival of this guy's career? Would you watch a film with him in it?
No.
Who is he?
Kevin Spacey.
Oh, fuck.
Didn't even recognize
it.
him.
It is Kevin Spacey. Jeez, that guy's put on weight. I can't blame him.
he's
Like,
making...
he probably, I would guess that he was probably drinking and doing a lot of drugs during his hiatus.
Yeah.
Fuck me, he doesn't look good.
That's
doesn't
his
look
cruising
good.
disguise.
Oh yeah, I mean Kevin Spacey's one of the great actors of his generation. He was
Oh,
look,
yeah.
if you believe in the principle of innocent until proven guilty, he was proven innocent in 2 different fucking courts. He went to I believe civil court in the United States, he was found innocent, and criminal court in the UK, he was found innocent. Now you can bitch and moan and say, "Oh well, he's a weirdo. I don't like him. He gets up to some weird shit." Yeah, okay, he gets up to some weird shit. Nobody's saying he's an angel. Nobody's saying that he's stayed faithful to one woman his entire life. I'm sure he's done some weird and perverse shit, but it's
And a
not
woman.
criminal. Okay, that's not. Did he do anything that was provably criminal? No. Has he done weird shit? Probably. I don't care.
And there's nothing wrong with doing weird stuff if it's not criminal. And I just want to second that opinion.
Exactly.
That's important that we make this distinction.
Whoa. Are you trying to prime us for some news that's going to drop on you, Greg?
Yeah.
It's okay.
No.
to
Softening
hear
us up.
stuff?
Hollywood's full.
Nobody's
they're
ever
all-
going to take it into my grave.
They're all fucking weirdos in Hollywood, and they just love to
That's true.
sacrifice one every now and then to distract away from them
that's
all
exactly
being
what it
fucking
is.
weirdos.
It's exactly what it is, Robot Head. It's like they're sacrificing one of their own at the altar as a way of sort of placating the mob. And it's like, you're all a pack of fucking perverts. We all know that
Yeah.
you were at Epstein's Island. Stop fucking pretending that you have a moral core and that, oh, we're not going to work with Kevin Spacey. He doesn't match our high morals. Get fucked. We all know exactly what you would do to children if you could get away with it, you fucking perverts. So don't, drop the moral sanctimonious act here. It's disgusting and it's hypocritical.
Just
Despo's
good
going
Kevin
hard
Spacey.
today. Good lord.
Yeah, I didn't think we'd have
I
a
think
Spacey
it's the
stand.
hypocrisy of it. I cannot stand the hypocrisy of Hollywood on this. It's so
Well, it's the
disgusting.
Weinstein as well. Like, they still pretend they didn't know what Weinstein was doing. They all knew what he was doing.
Yeah, of course
And-
they did, and they were
and-
doing
and-
it too.
Yeah, and the ones that were there were pretty much willing to do it. So it's like, it's insane.
All right, we'll chat. Put in, would you go watch a Kevin Spacey new feature film? So Y for yes, N for no. Let's see what side our chat is in. I'm not sure if I would. I'm in the where there's smoke, there's fire kind of camp. This kind of stuff. Plus, he did sort of
You better
impose
not
and
go-
impinge
you better not
himself
go see anything.
creepily. Yeah. So
They're all
Scooter Tarts, he's getting himself a front row seat.
And apart from anything else, he's one of the great actors of his generation.
Bruh, hemorrhoid hurts.
We
Chad
got
Reese
one
is
no.
emphatically
We got
no.
2 no's. We got 3 no's. There was a lot of
Outside.
Y's, and now there's a lot of N's.
Mm.
So long as none of the cast is under 25.
So he's got a caveat there. That's fine. Why depends on the film, though, bruh. If it looks good, all that matters to me, all of Hollywood is sickos. I guess. Probably not. Amazing actor, but he's always been a bit creepy. I guess that's kind of where I sit now. I'm willing to overlook a whole lot of dodgy shit, but I think this guy impinged and imposed upon a lot of young people, waiters and such like, which is just kind of a bit... hemorrhoid
But is it
hurts is
just-
an emphatic why.
But is it because he's gay? Because every
No.
old actor that's ever lived has tried to hit onto young
I mean,
waitresses.
Robot Head makes
whole
a
lives.
good
Yeah.
point. If
Yes,
it was how many young underage groupie do you think Robert Plant fucked? But you would see you'd go to see Robert Plant at a concert, right? Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's Jimmy Page. He's the one. Psychologically, it's difficult now for me with Led Zeppelin because he was with a girl who, from the entirety of when she was 14 and 15, as his steady girlfriend. And Led Zeppelin's difficult for me now.
When Led Zeppelin were big, they were very young. Like they were massive when they were like 23. How old was he at the time?
Mid-20s, I think.
No, that's not Chris. 14.
Yeah, I know. As a steady. Anyway. So I guess we've got to try and do... Okay, this could be a swing and a miss as well. I'm going to try and do this. We're going to try and do the tier ranker. I'm just going to be the producer guy because I can't do too much at once here. So, Desperate, you're going to have to lead the way. Tell us what we're going to do in this segment.
We're doing the video game adaptations?
Correct. Now,
all right,
if
so
my technological skills are correct,
take...
it's going to eventually look like...
I'll take over the... you just work away on that, Echo. So basically, we're going to... And chat... Let's not chat... What we're going to try is a new thing. We've never done this in the echo chamber before. It's a piece of software that allows you in the chat to rank stuff. We're going to use it's called a tier list. Maybe you've done it before. I've never participated in a tier list. So basically, we're going to put up a bunch of...
I've seen these everywhere and never knew what they were.
Yeah, we're going to put up a bunch
They're
of
so
video game
much fun.
adaptations, and we want you, all the people listening, we want you to rank them best to worst. If you haven't seen it, don't worry about it. Just click on the ones that you've seen. We'll get them ranked. Sort of, I say best to worst, but these are video game adaptations, so really what we're going for is most bad to least bad, or least bad to most bad. I don't know. I suppose that's how it'll go.
Are we going by the quality of the content made, or
Yeah, go by
if
the
it's
quality.
a good adaptation?
So either
doesn't matter
one,
if it's a good
whatever.
adaptation.
It's up to the if you want to rate them by the quality of the adaptation or just the quality of the finished product, it's up to you. Just rate them however you want, but we're mostly just doing this to test out the software so we can use it more in the future, which is why we've gone with video game adaptations, because who gives a fuck?
Yeah. So the tiers, you've got A, B, C, D, and S is like super. So S, the top one in there in red, is like the super top category if you want to put it into some stratosphere. Otherwise, it's A, B,
S
C,
is
D.
like 10 out of 10. That would be
Yeah.
an S tier. Like a 10
We
out of 10.
can remove
film.
that.
Yeah, none of these are 10 out of 10.
Yeah, that's true. So I'm going to be switching between these two. And so the first thing you're going to discuss is your initial. So here's the first one, all right? So get your thoughts about that. And then The Last of Us as a screen adaptation of a game. Okay. So where are you going to put it in the tier list? It's basically
Oh, this is tough.
May I? Or
Yeah.
no, you
Yeah.
go ahead, Greg. You go ahead.
No,
You go ahead.
I will give the woman permission to speak right now.
Oh, thank you.
It's
I
fine.
needed that. Thank you so much. Thank you for taking
You're
authority.
welcome.
I'm gonna put The Last of Us in the D tier. Like, I want to give it a C minus because, like, the first season, it had some pros. I feel like it was mainly cons. As a video game adaptation, it is a straight D because Cuckman just kind of took it and reworked it however he wanted to. It's definitely going to fall off in the second season. So I'm going to put it in the D tier.
Wow.
Very little entertainment value as well.
Yeah, I'm not going to be quite as harsh. I'm going to give it a C. It would have been a D had it not been for the big battle in episode 2 of season 2, because I think they realized just how fucking boring the plot was and that they needed something to happen. So they said, fuck it, let's just throw 300 zombies at the city. Good plan. Yeah, works for me. So I'll give it a C for that. But it's probably, by the time this is all over, it's probably going to be a D, because I think the rest of this season is going to be absolute garbage.
Yeah, it's gonna be boring as fuck. Well, they had the big battle scene also fixed a game problem where a giant horde of zombies chased them to the house, and then by the time Ellie gets there, they've just gotten bored and wandered off, and she enters the house alone, uninhibited, to find Joel being beaten to death. So they had to fix that as well. They realized, oh fuck, we used them as a plot device. Oops. Zombie horde came out of nowhere. We didn't really have a reason for that other than just to force this emotional beat that we wanted. Oh no.
All right. So Greg, what's your rating?
I think it's a C. Same reasons. I mean, like, there are some entertaining bits. It roughly follows the game. The first season, I remember fondly. Think as an adaptation, it did. There were some small changes, but for the most part, we got the same kind of general story across. And then as we go on, I'm gonna pretend like it doesn't exist going forward, I think.
Okay. So for me and Robot Head, do we have to recuse ourselves if we haven't played the game?
Fuck it.
I think it's fair to rate it I think you can go either or. You can rate it as an adaptation or just as a piece of media. I think both are fair.
Okay.
I'm just
Robot Head,
going as media. Well,
yeah. Okay. Where would you put it?
I liked 2 episodes. I liked episode 1 of season 1, and then the rest of the season was a drag. And then I liked episode 2 of season 2, which they finally had some zombies attacking, which made me happy. But I have to look at what's coming up that we have to judge. So I'm going to regret this, but I think I'm going to put it at around. Oh no, I was going to say B. B's way too high because we're not going to get up to S. No, I'm going to go C. I was going to go B just to give me some room to move. But I did really enjoy the second episode of season 2. But I haven't played the game, so this is just purely watching the show.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, we're putting it C. Seems to be quite unanimous.
Sure.
Right. So now I have to get out of the screen. Go to here, and then our next one would be Super Mario's movie.
I just watched this, so it's fresh in my mind.
Excellent.
Like literally right before I joined, I was watching this. I mean, it has a lot of fun Easter eggs. It melds together like 12 different Mario games. It's fun, it's colorful, but there's really no substance to it whatsoever. The plot is pretty thin. Characters are pretty thin. It kind of forgets what it's trying to do aside from Easter egg, Easter egg, Easter egg for about 90% of the film.
Yeah.
So as a film and as an adaptation, I'm harsh today, I guess. I would put this in the D category. This is slop.
2
A
Ds from
seconded.
Vex.
This is definitionally slop. I was
Wow.
bored out of my mind watching the Mario movie. It's just a series of sandboxes filled with Easter eggs, and that's it. So you've got the Mario
Yeah.
Kart sandbox, and you've got the 2D sort of SNES era sandbox, and then you've got the N64 3D era sandbox, and then you've got the modern sandbox, and you've got Easter eggs everywhere. I'd give it a D, man. It's awful. It
Yeah.
barely
Cool.
has a plot. It barely has characterization, and the acting is indifferent. It's just slop.
Wow.
It does make Peach a Mary Sue. It does do that. So
Wow. Greg?
I'm gonna go with a C. It didn't make me hate myself. There were some funny Easter eggs. I don't feel like it hated me, which is sad to say that that's points in its favor at this point. And I haven't watched it again, and I don't remember most of what happened. So it was extremely bland and forgettable. But I remember leaving the theater thinking, that was all right. C.
Robot Head?
You're going to hear this a lot because I've looked at the list. I didn't see this, so I'm going to have to skip
you're
out.
not missing anything. Don't worry.
Yeah. At the time, people seemed to love it too. There was a real carry on about that film. So it's interesting to hear your ideas on it.
Bright and fun. I mean, it was just empty. It was a popcorn.
It was just if you grew up with Nintendo games, it was a lot of fun. It definitely
grew
does
up with
make you
Nintendo
smile.
games, and I fucking hated it.
Yeah, okay, fair. I mean, like, I was
Right.
smiling while watching it because, like, it was just reminding me of, like, all those times as a kid where we just go over to friends' houses and play, Mario
Oh.
Party or something like that. But objectively, as a film, it's just slop. It's terrible.
Well, see, the problem with some of these video game movies is that the video games themselves either don't have a story or there's so many stories that you just like when you're telling The Last of Us, you kind of need to stick to that. It's pretty firmly established story.
It's
You
laid
can't-
out for you. Yeah.
Yeah, you sort of need to tell it. But then with Minecraft or Mario Brothers or whatever, you just need to evoke the feeling that you get when you play it and remind you of the things that you like. So you sort of rely on the audience to bring a lot of their own memories to it. And you just supply them the framework to re-enjoy them. So it usually ends up being shitty from a movie standpoint, but it's enjoyable to watch the first time. And then after that, you forget everything.
To me,
I
it's
guess
like
that's a
they
good
make
way to
films.
frame it.
To me, it's like they're films made for car crash victims that are in comas and they're trying to bring them out by showing them their memories from childhood. Like, I don't need to combine all my interests into one. And like, I know I'm on my own here, but I have no interest in seeing a video game made into a movie. It just doesn't. I like movies, and then video games are over here. But yes, I'm probably alone there.
All right. Well, Minecraft movie.
D, F.
Yeah, can we add an extra tier just for the Minecraft movie?
Please, Z.
What about the reaction? I'm all for the kids throwing popcorn. I'm on their side. Let the kids have fun. The theaters should have embraced it and been wearing plastic, raincoats into the cinemas and just buying new vacuum cleaners to help them clean up. Like they were trying to get kids to go have fun at the cinema. Just let them do it.
I feel bad for like the 6-year-olds. You're in a cinema with a bunch of rowdy, voice-breaking 13-year-olds. You can feel, I don't like this. This is really uncomfortable.
It's going to be streaming in a week, so just you can wait.
Yeah, that's true.
Let the teenagers
I'm
have
only
fun.
seeing F in the comments. I'm not even seeing D. Everybody's just writing F.
Does anyone want to go
Get rid
above
of the S.
D
Make
for
the
this?
S and F.
Okay, so we're pretty
No.
unanimous that this is
F.
in the D. All right.
This film has no merit like whatsoever. This really like even though Minecraft really has no like I mean their stories depends if you're playing Dungeons or Legends, you could easily just pluck a story from that and make that into a Minecraft movie, but the direction they chose to go like leaning more on like the Bedrock, the popular kind of sandbox edition that everyone's used to. There's a very straightforward story you could have run with that they just chose not to, and it's just if you watch a Minecraft meme compilation, it's like that, but 90 minutes long, essentially, is what this movie is.
Yeah.
So you're not getting any kind of cohesiveness. You're not getting any development of any sort. You're just getting 10-second meme after 10-second meme after 10-second meme for an hour and a half.
Well, chat, I'd like to put some of your comments on the screen, but I'm spinning so many plates that I feel like my entire system would crash. So anyway, next film is Sonic, and this is like the trilogy, I suppose, a Sonic trilogy.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote Sonic trilogy. I haven't seen any of them, to be honest. But yeah, go nuts, guys.
Surely this is going to go higher up, right? People have got a good.
I
vibe
saw the
on
first one. I can join in. I saw the first one, and it was good.
Yeah,
it was entertaining.
Yeah,
We got
I enjoyed
A,
the first one.
B, B, C. This one's probably going to end up somewhere in B. Somebody
I'd
says
give it a B.
All right.
B.
As all three of them averaged out, I'd give this
Yeah.
a B. I think it does enough justice to the main games where you can pick up the Easter eggs and you can see where the inspiration is, but it tries to craft enough of a story that it's a little more relatable to like a current day audience. The casting is pretty well done. Jim Carrey's phenomenal in it. Yeah, the voice acting is well done as well. Like these are just fun. Like,
yeah, you guys
she
have been
was
too harsh.
probably
What
the
else do you
weakest
want
one.
from an adaptation than this? Come on, what else do you want?
No, yeah, these are. It's great for adults and kids. So I would say it's a
Mhm.
B between all three
Okay.
films.
I like it's just as famous for the them listening to
The
the
teeth.
crowd and changing the design.
Oh, yeah,
So they get an extra
Yeah.
point for that.
yeah. Okay, Greg.
Yeah, same. I agree with X
Okay.
on all of that. I think it's a solid B.
Okay, I think you guys are being a little harsh, but we'll go with B then. I mean, what else do you need from an adaptation, you bunch of curmudgeons? God.
I think you still
Okay.
have to say
Dude.
something. I mean, like there still has to be some sort of meat to the movie. Like the trouble with the Sonic movies is that at the end of the day, they still are and then plots. I mean, that just this happens and then this happens and then this happens and then this happens and then there's some comedy. Jim Carrey is showing up to work. I mean, that dude, he doesn't phone it in. Unlike Marsden in the third movie, that James Marsden was like, "Fuck it, I don't even care." Just what's the line?
Like
Yeah.
it does what like the Mario movie I wish kind of done, and at least it tries to like there's some sort of like positive reinforcing or like a lesson that the film is trying to teach, right? And at least Sonic, like it takes what it can from the games and it puts together a plot that would work for a kids movie, and it's pretty enjoyable all around for what it does. It doesn't feel hollow. It doesn't feel like they're just throwing nostalgia at me, and there's rewatch value to it on top.
Jim Carrey must be the best money you can spend if you want to do him in a role, because his work ethic, he's turning up and doing Jim Carrey is incredible after all these years. That's the most impressive thing about those films.
I feel that we've been deprived, that we're owed a film that features both him and Nicolas Cage. I want those two in a film together.
Ooh.
Yeah, but they might cancel each other out.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
just
true. Yeah.
opposing force.
If Hollywood is watching, there you go. Nicolas Cage, Jim Carrey, make it happen
I don't need a plot. I just need them just doing stuff.
together.
Anyway,
yeah.
Doom.
Yeah, I've seen this once and I fucking loved it. This is easily Dwayne Johnson, The Rock's best movie. And
like 20 years
it's
old.
something between a trash movie and really just genuinely entertaining. The Rock plays a villain in it, and it really suits him. Oh man, he took his career in the wrong direction. He should really have gone in for villain roles because he's so much better than when he's playing the sort of vanilla hero type. Way better as a villain. So that's a pretty good movie. I understand that it's probably a trash movie, so I'm gonna give it a oh fuck it, man! I love it too much. I'm gonna give it an A.
Whoa!
No. Over the Sonic movie?
I like that you just had a little fight with yourself about that.
Yeah. Man. Hey.
May I?
Go ahead.
I am gonna have to agree with Despot and put this in an A.
Shit.
The first person
Whoa.
seat alone puts this in an A. It doesn't explore as much of the Doom lore as you would want it to, but like it's just a fun schlock action film. There's enough Doom in it that you're just like, oh, these monsters are cool. They use practical effects for a lot of the creatures too, which is nice.
Yeah, scene at the end that where they go to first person camera perspective for the
That's what I mean.
creature
Yeah,
in the wheelchair. Really funny.
that throws
Yeah.
it to an A right there. And there's
Whoa.
I rewatch this movie like once every couple of months because it's just so much fun. I really adore this movie. This is,
And
and I agree. This is The Rock's best movie. I agree with that statement as well.
The Rock goes mad at the end and like slaughters a room full of civilians. It's fucking great.
Yeah.
Man,
It
take my
doesn't pull
money.
any punches. So I like
What?
it could have used a bit more Doom, but it was fun for what it was. So I put it at an A.
5 minutes
hell.
ago, I would have never watched this film for the rest of my life, and now I'm going to watch it tonight. It's like, I've never been sold
You
on a
won't be.
film
I'd
so
be
quickly.
surprised if you're disappointed. It's not grand theater or anything like that, but you'll have fun with it.
Man,
You've
I
sold
just
me.
wish I had on hand. I wish I had that meme with the black guys in the park, and there's the guy who just goes across the screen with his eyes like that. And, whoa. And Greg, you've said your rating.
I haven't.
yeah,
I mean, you guys are talking. It's been a long time, so maybe I'm just like misremembering. I do remember the first person scene. I'll give it a. I guess I'll give it a B because I don't remember. You guys are making me think that I should like it more than I did. It's the
Watch
the
it again.
ratings
Watch
are
it again.
so bad.
I've only seen 2 ratings in the chat, an A and a B. So it's an A,
Well,
man. Like it's
I think we have to go to A with the Doom. That's
It's
extraordinary.
got 18% on Rotten Tomatoes, so that's a win for me. That's convinced me it's good.
You know, I wish that they would actually do more of them because it when this was made, Doom didn't have a lot of lore, and so in the last couple of years they have really expanded it. And no shit, it's a cool story. Now they took it and they actually added a bunch of stuff. With the Doom guy being like this ancient warrior, and it's pretty cool now. And they have a new one coming out soon where you have a gun that you stick demon skulls into and it grinds them up and shoots skull shrapnel at everybody. So, and you have
I can't wait for Dark
with
Ages,
a
man.
chainsaw on the outside of it that you fucking pull to start, and then this blade spin on the outside, and you fucking, if that doesn't get you hard, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I don't know what to do for you at that point.
Look,
Okay,
I didn't
well,
realize that was Carl Urban. Can we just go back to that post for 1 second, Echo? I didn't
Carl
realize that was
Urban,
Carl
yeah, it is,
Urban.
yeah.
And
Yeah, he's
he's
the main
accidentally
character.
turned up in so many good films. Look at his effort to the other guy on the other side.
Yeah.
Doesn't give
No.
a fuck.
That's such a good catch, Robot Head, because there's Carl Urban. Doesn't care if he's in the background, he's going to give it his all. And then, Viola Davis with a shaved head behind the rock there, just, oh, fuck this, I don't like being in the background. Just phoning it
He
in.
was the only good thing about the J.J. Abrams Star Trek reboots was him as McCoy. I really liked him.
Fuck, those movies were awful.
Okay. Resident Evil.
Yeah, just the Mia Jovovich Resident Evil movies, because they're all equally bad. I've seen them all. They're fucking dreadful, honestly, especially when you're considering that this is Resident Evil. There's so much lore and story. And it's one of the great disappointments of video game adaptation is that they've never got Resident Evil right. And it's such an easy win. So I know these movies are kind of a meme, and I know there's a lot of goodwill for Mia Jovovich, rightfully. And there's a couple of so bad they're good scenes, but no, fuck it, man. This should be so much better. This is going straight to D for me.
Everything bad and bland about that period in filmmaking, aesthetically, culturally, that little particular pocket in time, just visually looks sloppy and horrible and cheap. And Garrett.
I didn't see it. I can't weigh in on this one.
Really?
Okay.
I passed up the whole. Wait. Is this the one with what's his name that died recently, and then where he gets like cut in half with the lasers, like the laser turns to like a mesh wall?
Yes, that is a scene in one of the movies. Yes.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
No, it's bad. It's very bad. I do remember that one.
Okay.
Right.
I'm as an adaptation, these are fucking terrible. I agree with Despot. Like, this should have been a slam dunk. Like, there's 7 of these games. I think 2 spin-off games on top of that. This should be a slam dunk for any movie. For some reason, they took it in their own direction. I'm gonna have to put them in D. The first one is maybe the best one, and is still not very good as a movie or as an adaptation.
Now, if they really know, if they want to make money, they will make an adaptation of 7, I think, and they'll get a big gal to play Lady Dimitrescu or whatever the fuck, and she's popular online.
Yeah,
Yep,
just
very
get
popular.
Sydney Sweeney in
She's
there
real
with
popular.
vampire makeup. That thing will
Yeah.
be $1 million.
There you
Yeah,
go.
Oh, yeah.
Did you-
have to change the angle so she looks enormous. Make sure your filter is real high if you're searching for her. There's a lot
Do
of
you have
fanfic.
Do you have both Resident Evil adaptations on this list, Echo?
We just have just that one.
Just the movies? Okay.
No, wait a minute. Wait a
No,
minute.
there's
I think I
another
have 2. Yeah, why
There's
do I
a
have
red-
2?
There was the show.
There's the Netflix
Oh.
series.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So this is just the film. Okay. So we're putting this in D, I think, unless Robot has any stringent objections.
I know I've seen the first one and I cannot remember a frame of it. And all my references are just seeing clips online that are incredible for the CGI. So yes,
Well,
I would go for D just because I can't remember it.
Well, I've seen it through the filter of Space Ice videos, and I don't think that's quite good enough criteria to make a decision. Okay. So that's the film adaptations. Now, Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. So this is the when was it? 2021 was this?
Mm-hmm.
So this is a 2021 version, not the 90s version. I really like this. I unironically like this. I thought that they got quite a lot of it right. It looked good, pretty good CGI, some really fun kills, and some really fun, corny, cheesy line reads. And they had a plot there, you know, the sort of the enmity between Sub-Zero and Scorpion. So I would give this, a solid B. Yeah, I thought this was a fun
What's
movie,
with the,
really good popcorn flick.
What's with the chick smile on the right there?
Oh, she has her mouth opens up into like a giant dagger teeth mouth, and then she bites people's throat off. That's her thing.
Oh, okay,
She's
cool.
eating Vegemite sandwiches.
One too many Vegemite soldiers. Yeah. Okay. Well, so let's see. So what was your rating there, Despot?
B.
B. Okay. Anyone else want to weigh in on
Chat,
Mortal
if you want
Kombat?
to jump
I
in
just-
with your
I
rating
thought
of
the
Mortal
old-
Kombat 2021.
The older one.
So I think we're just going with Despot's one.
Yeah, I haven't seen the newer ones. I like the 90s ones, though. Really enjoyed those.
Mm-hmm. So B, was it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. B for Mortal Kombat. So making good time. Let's just see if it goes up there. Okay. And that takes us on inexorably to Fallout. All right, Vex,
This
I
one
think you should lead the way
controversial.
with this. Yeah, Vex got lots of thoughts on this because there's erotic thoughts about Goggins, but there's also objective thoughts aesthetically. So how are you going to separate that, Vex?
Are we all rating those 2 categories? Just Vex.
No, just Vex.
I quite enjoy that the internet will always remember my strange taste in men. Walton Goggins' sex appeal aside, this was an A for me. I had a lot of fun with this. This actually made me go and play the Fallout games, which I've gotten a few hours into New Vegas, but there's objective issues with it. Like there's some continuity errors. There's just some dumb plot lines that they decide to follow through with and stuff like that. But I rewatched this 3 times, this series end to end. I enjoyed it so much. And I'm very interested. It felt like a video game. So even though there were 3 separate plot lines you were following, it very much felt like an open world game where you get continuously distracted by side quests. So this is an A for me, and I really hope that season 2 holds up because Amazon seems to have a habit of starting strong and then dipping really hard. So I liked it a lot.
Okay. Starting strong and dipping hard. It all sounds still very erotic.
I'll go next because I'm gonna say strong too. I really like this show. I was surprised how much I enjoyed it, except for the Maximus character. That guy gave me the shits. The actor played him, but besides that, I thought it was a lot of fun. This show. So I would. Should we go an A? That's pretty high. We'll go an A.
Compared to everything else, it's definitely an A.
I can't give it. I didn't finish the season because I just got distracted with other crap. I want to go back and finish it, but as an adaptation, I like this is what I want to see, where, you know, Fallout has lots of stories. And I think that this is a really great way to go about it, where you don't try to stick to a story. You just sort of tell the story that you want, but it's in the world, and you get the vibes right, and you get the idea correct of, you know, the vault dweller and the just absolute lunacy that the world has been in. Like, this was really well done in that regard. So just like the 2 episodes that I did see, I would give an A to, and I got to go finish that up. I forgot about it.
Wow. So Fallout goes vaulting into the A category. Yeah, we started out pretty dismal with a couple of Ds. Mm-hmm.
I think as someone who doesn't seem to have time to play a lot of games these days, which I do want to change, I need some distraction. It did it had the feeling that you're watching a show based on a game. Like, I like the links with the games and the way they sort of use the shelters and the doors and that, like you're going from one scene to the next. I thought they did a really good job of making it feel like a game, you know, that you're watching in real time, more or less.
Yeah, I think they got the formula right.
So you guys mentioned like plot points, and I haven't seen the whole season. So, but does it, when you're adapting a game, do you feel that you need to just sort of accept the fact that there is such a thing as game logic? And we all, those of us that play games, know what game logic is. That just fucking is. And should a show or a movie based on a game just like lean into that, and not in a stupid, campy, fourth wall breaky kind of way, but just accept the fact that there is game logic and just roll with it, and that's what it is?
That's what I think.
Is that bad?
That's what I think this game did right. Like, normally that annoys me, but with this game, it was it made it feel, it worked well. So it changed me on that they should lean into it.
I think, it has that right balance of accepting game logic, but not to the detriment of the plot, like the multiple plot lines going on, or the characters, or even the world building. The other thing too that was, I think, puts this above everything, whether you see it as a strong adaptation or not, is when you compare it to other video game adaptations, there's no character to our main characters. Like, there's nothing defining about any of them, and nothing that makes you want to get invested. Whereas with all 3 of these characters, they have their own backgrounds, they have their own personalities, and they have their own view of this world that they're in now as well. So it makes each of their, like, I know people disagree on Maximus. I actually kind of saw him as like the newbie player kind of character type. Like, so he's pretty ditzy and just kind of dumb to everything in the world. Like, in order to kind of make that connection there. So I didn't mind him, but yeah, the character work was really strong, especially with Goggins. Like, oh my God, he shot this out of the park. It's one of his best performances I've seen him in.
Yeah, he owns this show.
Yeah, he carries it. He carries a lot of this show.
All right. Well, we might have a slight dip in quality.
Impressive.
So slight dip in quality here, down to
just slight.
Just a little. Oh my God.
This should also have its own tier.
Yeah.
It should, yeah.
What was the one that was all Fs? This is lower than that one. I don't even remember what that one was.
Minecraft was better than this one.
This is low. No, this is lower than Minecraft.
I mean, Borderlands is definitely in the running for worst video game adaptation of all time.
It is. There's no running. It has it. It's gold. It's the only thing that it's good at is winning that competition. That's it.
I haven't seen it, but the cast is bizarre. Just by the cast, it looks like it's going to be terrible.
Terrible.
Yeah, everything about this adaptation made no fucking sense whatsoever. The casting was terrible. There was no plot. If there was a plot, I watched this movie twice and I don't remember what the plot was. So that should tell you everything. There's a whole character that was also cut out that you can tell in a lot of the promotional materials, as well as even some of the plot lines that I do remember. There's nothing Borderlands about this too. Like, Borderlands has very outdated humor, which I guess doesn't help either, but there was a way better way you could have gone about this. That Boy Meets World movie, I don't know if any of you guys saw that last year. Boy Meets World is what the Borderlands movie should have been. That has Borderlands energy. It's a mid movie at best, but it's very entertaining to watch. It's goofy and it leans into it, but not at the sacrifice of like the action elements. And that's what Borderlands should have been.
Okay.
Yeah, and this is Cate Blanchett's worst performance by a country fucking mile.
Yeah.
She is
She
just
didn't give a shit.
god awful.
Yeah, she does not have a tempest in her in this role. Warcraft official trailer.
That's a good
Oh,
movie.
Warcraft. Yeah.
The trailer, yes, that's
I'm trying to do a million things at once. Leave me fucking alone.
Warcraft. That's a very underrated movie. That was directed by Duncan Jones, who's actually David Bowie's son.
Oh, really?
Oh.
That's great.
Yeah, it's
Zowie Bowie.
good, man. I saw it once with my wife, and we both really liked it. I can't really remember it, to be honest, but I do remember really enjoying it. I thought it was a fun time, and I was surprised at how good it was. So, honestly, man, fuck it. I'll just give this one an A because
Whoa.
it's the kind of game that you could really fuck up in an adaptation, and it's one of the few video game adaptations that I've really enjoyed watching. So I wouldn't put it in an S, but I would give it an A.
I'm gonna lean into a little of what Despot said as well, because I rewatched this last night because I hadn't seen it since it came out, and I like that it leaned into the original Warcraft games instead of WoW lore for its storytelling. I think it fucked up on the human parts, a lot of it. I kind of wish the whole film was just the CGI, because it breaks a lot of the immersion when you switch back into the live actors. And Paula Patton was clearly just there for some weird orc fetish that half of the Warcraft fandom has. So, but
Whoa,
it's
why
very
you call it weird?
enjoyable. Pardon?
Why are you calling it weird?
Yeah, what's with the kink shaming?
Yeah. What the hell?
If it were a dude, I might be saying differently, but it was a woman. So
Mm.
I'm
You don't
gonna,
have
but I'm
any
gonna lead in.
people like in Pandarans either, do you? Like that's not
Seeing a
weird.
few B's in the chat too, so just throw in B.
I'm gonna go with a
I like
B
the
though. I
weird
think
cool fetish.
I haven't seen
the
it.
human stuff brings it down. So I'm gonna go with a B.
All right, B. I accidentally had it up there instead of Mortal Kombat, but I rectified my error. And so now we're all happy in the B territory. Okay. All right, that means, let's see, the next one. Okay, that goes there. And then we go to Five Nights at Freddy's. This could be an interesting one.
This should also go with Minecraft and Borderlands in the F tier.
Really?
I've not played this
Gosh.
game or seen this movie, so I'm out.
Yeah,
For that
I-
reason, I'm out.
I took
I've
some
heard
kids to see this film, and they
Mhm.
absolutely loved it. Like kids that play the game, and nephews of mine. And I didn't think it was that bad for someone that had no idea what I was going into.
Mm-hmm.
But then again,
Didn't have
sometimes
a-
getting out of the house and eating popcorn in the dark's just fun on its own. So
Mm.
Didn't have surprisingly little action. There was some weird psychodrama for at least 2/3 of it.
yeah, I did find that weird. I thought it was going to be more full on,
Hmm.
like more killing.
I'd rather see the
Didn't-
Nick Cage knockoff.
That was better. That was far better. Yeah.
that hit the crazy bone just right.
Mhm.
I'd probably
Okay,
give it a
well,
C. I'd
a
probably put it
C.
in C.
chat
But I might be
says
just taking
D,
that by how much
F,
the kids liked it that were with me.
C,
Okay.
but it's some C. It seems to be C is the sort of consensus. It's
Yeah.
bad, but it's not fucking Borderlands. It's not.
Yeah, I don't think it was
Resident Evil.
terrible. It's fine. It was just a film.
I'm fine with a C if everyone else is fine with a C.
Okay. All right. And that takes us on to Tomb Raider. So just the whole Angelina Jolie era, essentially, of Tomb Raider.
I think it was just the one movie, wasn't it?
No, there are
yeah.
two.
Oh, there
Yeah,
were two.
two.
Well, I only saw the first one. I actually saw it in cinema, and
Come on,
she
this has to rate highly.
was perfect as Lara Croft.
Yeah, I thought it was good.
Yeah, so
That's an A.
A man, like
I agree.
fun,
It's an A.
absolutely perfect casting. She was great in it. She looked so fucking hot.
Mhm.
That's just an A for me, man. What more do you want?
I remember
Yeah,
the
what
news
more can you
that
ask
they
for?
altered her moves in that movie. That was a big headline for a while.
Well, we've got the
Also,
dirtbag actress is going to write the new film apparently, but
that's
no,
the
they
really
paid her $20 million
movie.
a year and she couldn't come up with it.
They recast it
Thank God.
in the 2010s with some actress who was a thing for 5 minutes, a million
Yeah.
years ago. And she was shite and she just didn't look right and she didn't have the charisma. She didn't have the body or the acting ability of Angelina Jolie. And it was, I didn't watch it, but it looked like shit. And they Netflix an adaptation last year. My God, that was one of the worst things I've ever seen.
I know which one you're talking about. I really like Alicia Vikander, but she was a wrong casting choice for Lara Croft all around. She's got the
so
physicality because she's very fit in real life and very active, but
Yeah.
that's just not what she's meant for. She's
She
better
just
with
looked
dramatic
wrong,
roles.
honestly, man. Like she looked like a kid wearing cosplay.
Mhm.
She's so beautiful, that woman. Have you ever saw The Danish Girl? Oh my god.
Oh, great
Special.
movie.
Oh, goddamn. All right, so that gets there. Yeah, so the Fleabag lady, she was paid $20 million a year to ostensibly, nominally come up with a new Tomb Raider. She couldn't do it. She couldn't crack. What is the magic? What's the secret special formula to doing a Tomb Raider? How can it be?
To be fair, paying that woman $20 million a year to not do anything.
Yeah, to keep her busy.
Reasonably well spent.
Yeah.
That should be taxpayer money.
It's better money than it was spent on Indiana Jones.
What's really sad is that when they rebooted those games a few years ago, the first game has, again, a really interesting plot. And if you just made it a movie, beat for beat, they're stranded on an island, and then there's magical weird shit going on in this. It's in the Pacific, and they find like Japanese soldier skeletons because they were stationed there, but then there's also some other stuff going on, and you kind of piece it together. It's a really cool story in that game. It was very good. And if they just told it front to back with the big, there's kind of a sort of a twist in the end, and it's really, really good. They wouldn't have to do much except for make it fit in a 2-hour window, but they'll fuck that up if they do.
So I have an interesting, I want the chat to weigh in on this as well.
Yeah.
Is this movie now a cult trasher piece, or is it just fucking terrible? That's the distinction we're looking for here.
Good question.
100%.
So
do you
think
feel
it's
slightly sad?
Greg?
Fabulous.
So Greg says S. Chat, is this, so what we're looking for here, is this an S tier trasher piece, or is it just like unsalvageable nonsense?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a hard one.
It is in that area. Like it's up there with like Madam Web and The Room. Like it's at that level.
The guy that made this had never seen the game get played ever. He saw stills of the game, and that was it. And they were like, "Make us a movie." And he was like, "Fuck yeah, I got it. Don't worry, I got this covered." You got it.
It can't go into D. I mean, you really want to put it there with fucking Borderlands?
Yeah, we need street level up there, Street Fighter up there too with Raul.
Bizarre. What's his name? What's his name in it? Oh fuck! Hold on.
Well, the question is, the criteria is the rubric.
Dennis
is
Hopper,
it a good
Dennis
adaptation?
Hopper plays the bad guy in this.
Fantastic. So is it a good adaptation? That's our criteria.
Excellent.
That's our rubric.
Much better than Jack Black.
I actually didn't mind Jack Black as Bowser. I think he was actually pretty well cast for that one. It's a hot take.
Dennis Hopper, the freaking fins in his hair.
He was also a good villain in Waterworld, if I recall.
Yeah.
Waterworld's great movie.
Shit was so good.
Okay.
Yeah,
well,
Mario and Street Fighter are S tier.
This is one is the most divisive one yet.
Divisive.
Can we just put it in the middle then? Middle of the tier list, and then that we satisfy everyone?
Okay.
It's indeterminate. Yeah, it's indeterminate. We don't know. Like, people have varied opinions, so I don't think we can be emphatic about that. And so I think that just leads to Resident Evil. Oh, this series was shit. No,
this also deserves the F tier.
That's why I said Borderlands is in the running for worst video game adaptation of all time, because it's either Borderlands or it's Resident Evil, Netflix Resident Evil series. This thing, when I go into a Resident Evil series, you know what I want? I want to see a jacked fucking Chad fighting a giant zombie monster. Do you know what I don't want to see? I don't want to see two 15-year-old girls having a tantrum.
But you watch G20. I don't understand. I don't get where you're coming from here. I'm lost.
Man, G20 is one of the best movies made this year.
Well, what I'm looking forward to is I want to see a teenage girl who's also a technology genius, because I don't think we haven't seen that enough.
No, that's
Riri Williams and Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania and all that stuff.
Hey, what are you doing this June? Because we got some fun stuff coming your way.
Okay, you know what? I don't think you guys understood this. It was clearly just a metaphor for becoming a woman for the first time. I think it's an S tier adaptation just for that reason.
Well, we're overruling you, Vex.
Echo, don't even fucking put it on the tier list. Like, it doesn't deserve.
Just leave it down there.
Where it belongs.
It's its own tier now. We can add it to the Resident Evil tier.
All right. Well, that's our first successful use of the tier system. So that means we've ticked that box and figured it out. I think we've resolved everything that there is to discuss and left no stone unturned in the adaptations to screen.
We didn't talk about
games.
We didn't talk about Street Fighter, and
Yeah,
that's the real
Oh,
miss.
there's a
Street
bunch.
Fighter,
There's a load
Speed
we didn't get in
Racer,
there.
Assassin's Creed,
Yeah, I know, I
Castlevania,
know.
Devil May Cry.
I
Someone
covered
mentioned-
this, but I was
someone mentioned in
aiming
the
at a
chat.
sort of like 30 minutes and stuff that people recognize, as opposed to a lot of the 90s stuff that has now been forgotten, like Street Fighter. And like,
That needs to be brought back. So
What
good.
about
yeah, Arcade and Cyberpunk.
Uncharted's already been forgotten.
Mhm.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, I mean, mate, there was a
Oh, yeah.
Hitman movie. I forgot about that. Shit.
With what's his face, the Justified dude.
Justified dude. Let me see. What else have I got
Timothy
here?
Oliphant. There we go. Timothy
Timothy
Oliphant was
Oliphant,
Hitman. Yeah.
Good actor. All right. Well, that's about it for today, team. I think we've gone over two, and I know that Robohead, you're itching to get off and watch Andor, and who could blame you, really?
I don't know if I can do
So,
it. I'll just, yeah, I don't know if I can.
so
Watch
a big
Doom
thank you
instead.
to
It's so much more
Yeah.
fun.
a big thank you to Ruin Johnson and Mr. Brown. And I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. Subscribe to the Mr. Brown Alliance. It's the internet's local. All right. He's launched more careers than SNL, and he deserves love. He's been languishing on 5,500 subs for goodness knows how long. It's a travesty. And so it's incumbent upon supporters of all our channels to go over to Mr. B, give him a like and subscribe. All right.
He will be doing Andor too, which will be
Yeah.
tomorrow morning, which will be tonight, I think. But he's going to be covering Andor.
Yeah. So so if you don't, then you'll have to deal with me, and I'll have your guts for garters, and I'll bandy with the infection. So if you don't, then we'll all punish you by not streaming again for upwards of 2 weeks. All right. So I'm just putting that out there as a prospective punishment for you if you don't go subscribe to him. So it just remains for me to thank Mr. Grego. And what can you tell the folks?
Don't catch chickens before they hatch. Don't piss in the wind.
Mm-hmm.
That's I don't know. You know what? I gotta get to writing. I have some real writer's block because everything sucks and it's not even fun to talk about. So I don't even know what to write about at this point because everything's terrible. But maybe Andor will fix that. Who knows? We'll see.
Got it. Despot, you're like this colossus. You're like at the end of the Fantastic Four trailer, just these huge stomping feet bestriding the culture. So what can you tell the folks? Or you're just luxuriating in the success of your zeitgeist-defining new video?
yeah, and I'm going to be doing a sequel to it, focusing on American ads. But before I do that, I need a detox. So my next video is going to be an analysis of Train Spotting, and it's going to get 8
great.
views, and it's going to be great.
Brilliant. Okay. The sublime Vex Electronica. What can you tell the folks?
Thank you for having me back. It was a lot of fun, especially talking video game adaptations. You could do like a 3-hour stream on all of those, and that would be a lot of fun. I stream on Sundays because I've had writer's block for like 5 months at this point. But I have 2 videos. I'm working on the script for a Snow White video of a different kind. And then I did watch Netflix's Devil May Cry series. I'm a huge Devil May Cry fan, and I can't say the words on stream, but there is a clip in the opening of the film Hamlet 2 that best describes how that show made me feel. But if you guys want something good to watch, I highly recommend Common Side Effects. It just finished its first season last month. It's an Adult Swim series. Good stuff. It's best thing I've seen all year.
Okay, great. And to Robot Head, my Antipodean friend, brother-in-arm, comrade, my
I just
what
going
can
to say
you
the
tell
writer's
the
block
folks?
thing must be a thing at the moment because, writing's just nothing's fun to talk about at the moment. But I would say go see Sinners. It's I saw that yesterday and I had a lot of fun with that. That's not overrated. It's worth going to see.
Okay, cool. All right, brilliant. Well, thanks to the awesome panel, and thanks to the awesome chat. And we always like to thank whichever of the Brits is still bleary-eyed, somehow managed to make it through here. We know that you'll see us on the upload tomorrow, and we do appreciate that. Now, to finish from now on, I don't like that thing where it's the end of a StreamYard's stream, and then there's like a 3 or 4 really super awkward seconds. So for now, I've got a new thing where I've just taken 3 or 4 lovely pronouncements or remarks from streams that I've seen, and I've just put them as like a nice little Zen-like reflections to end of the stream. So I'm just going to end that each stream with these from now on. So thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.